We clapped in.
We
We're
clapped
good to go.
in.
We're good to
We're good to go.
to gab a ghoul.
We're
Are we
good to-
gabbing a ghoul?
Let's
A
gab
ghoul.
a
Gab
ghoul.
ghouls.
Let's
I
ghoul
would
these
love to
gab
gab a
ghoul.
ghoul.
A gabbing
Edge,
ghoul.
have you ever gabbed a ghoul before?
I can't say I have. I've been very
I-
curious about it.
Yeah,
I've thought about getting into it.
I don't
you
recall
know?
if you
Do
gabbed a
declare.
ghoul the last time that you were on the show, but
I
Were
don't.
we gabbing ghouls last year?
I don't know if I did because I wasn't seeing too many movies at that time because I
Sure.
worked at a movie theater and I didn't actually want to go back there more than I had to.
Right,
Also, the only
naturally.
other thing out was Black Adam.
yeah, that'll keep you from
That I
gabbing.
remember that specifically.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah. The only ghoul you gabbed was the biggest ghoul of all, Michael.
Love it. Incredible. Well, I have a ghoul to gab.
Let's go.
Ooh, gab it up, gab it up.
So I watched the movie Host, which came out, I think, in 2020 or 2021. It was filmed during COVID, and it's filmed entirely in a Zoom call. And it's
Terrifying.
like this group of friends hires this person to work them through a seance because I think like they're kind of bored. Only one of them takes it seriously, and the others are goofing off. And then bad things happen and ghost things start happening.
Wow.
I had seen a lot on TikTok about it lately because I think some list rated it like the scariest movie of all time or something. And then I'd also just heard people saying good things about it, and I wanted to watch a movie. It is like a 57-minute movie, and it
short.
took me 3 hours to watch because I kept pausing and being like, I don't want to watch the rest right now.
Wow.
That was-
okay.
Noah watched it during quarantine, I remember. And
Yeah.
Noah said it was really scary.
And
It's
it only
really
took
good.
him 45 minutes because he kept watching it faster.
I was like, let's get out of here.
Piper has expressed interest in watching it, although like seance and like stuff like that really freaks them out. And so they're still like, yeah, I still want to watch it. And they've expressed wanting to hang out and watch something after we record. So I might be like, let's watch this scary movie and see how it goes.
I'll probably watch it tomorrow because I want to.
Yeah.
I want
It's
to
good.
watch
Wants
it.
to wait for the daytime.
No,
Nina.
that's not true. Noah's
could be
making
true,
things
though.
up to be mean.
But it could be true. And isn't that truer than the truth?
Wow.
So true.
In a way.
When you put it like that, no.
I loved Host though. Oh man, it's really good.
It's a fun time. And it had like jump scares don't normally get me. But this is probably the most I've jumped from a jump scare ever. And it was like about midway through the movie probably. It's not the one. I feel like there's a
not the-
couple infamous jump scares in this.
It's not
And
the
I'm-
jump scare.
Yeah, I'm trying
But
to like
there's-
covertly signal to Noah which one it was.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, okay. But
Can
yeah,
we get a
great
scary
time.
rating?
A scary
on this
rating,
one?
10 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is
10 out of 10
legitimately
scary.
so scary though.
Yeah.
I'm so
We got a
excited.
It
10-star
is
Emma
a
happening here.
real, really tense movie.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to watch it.
Does anybody else have any ghouls to gab though?
I do,
Well-
but Noah does, so I'll let Noah go.
I have a ghoul to gab.
Gabbing your court-assigned ghoul.
I actually have a couple here. So I talked about this a little bit in the server, but right after watching... Did I talk about it in the episode? Come to think of it, Nightmare on Elm Street. Did I talk about Texas Chainsaw Reboot?
I think you
No,
did.
you did not.
I think I
I
feel
thought
like
you
I
you
trust
did.
Jeff because Jeff just edited this episode.
I just edited
so-
that episode.
I'll-
Well, I mean, actually,
You-
I
yeah,
I
you can
edited
talk
that over
about
the
it
course of,
again.
like, I spent like an entire week editing that episode. I did half of it and then like put it down for several days and then picked
Well,
it back up.
And
So
that's why it's
I
our
might-
best
I'll
episode
touch on
yet.
it very
have just
briefly
forgotten.
in my string here.
Yeah.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre Reboot 2003 is really not good. I give it a 2 out of 5, 40%.
That's got that Michael Bay on it, doesn't it?
Here's the thing. That's the one of the Michael Bay reboots.
Yeah.
And frankly, here's the thing. if it wasn't a Texas Chainsaw movie, I don't think I would hate it as much.
Sure.
But the original Texas Chainsaw was talking a lot about it was talking a lot about Vietnam and about the government and about how some things that are good things can hurt other people.
And about dying industries.
And dying industries. There's a lot going there.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, Texas Chainsaw 2003 is like, what if Rob Zombie was real? Wouldn't that be fun? Imagine if, House of a Thousand Corpses. What if that was just Americana? Oh, that would be fucked up,
That's so
right?
funny. They're like,
And
what
that's-
if the
glimpse into my
satire
twisted
wasn't...
And well, the disappointing thing about it, frankly, is mostly there's a lot of good moments. And every moment that's not a Texas Chainsaw movie is great. Every time the sheriff is on screen, I want to piss my pants. I hate him so much and I'm so uncomfortable.
Wow.
Like,
Pants,
it's
piss, and anger.
Viscerally uncomfortable.
played the
Piss and
sheriff?
anger.
Couldn't tell you, but I'm about to find out.
I feel like I've seen clips.
Wrong one.
How many times have you heard someone
Chainsaw.
review a movie as being pants pissing good? I mean, really,
So true.
it just doesn't happen.
I piss my pants all the time in every movie.
R.
but
Lee Ermey.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he
Yeah.
was in
Seven.
Seven. He was the police captain in Seven.
I told you that.
Oh.
You
He
told
also
me nobody
plays
knows who that
Sergeant in the Toy
Wait,
Story
who the fuck
movies.
was he in X-Men Last Stand?
As Sergeant.
Another sergeant.
Yeah.
This man is sergeanting all over the place.
He in Starship
That's his type.
Troopers, you may remember him as voice heard on speaker (parentheses uncredited).
Oh,
When he said it's
yeah.
Sergeant time.
Oh,
Sarged
I
all
love
over
voice
the
heard on
place.
speaker parentheses uncredited.
Okay.
That's my favorite
Okay,
line.
but Noah,
He's-
I want to hear you talk about the other thing you watched.
But yeah, let's talk about the real other thing I watched. Species and Species 2. You like
Wow, I
H.R.
don't know those
Giger?
ones.
I do. I love
I know
H.R.
everyone
Giger.
here loves H.R. Giger.
Yeah.
Now, would you like to watch H.R. Giger's design a monster
Yes.
in a violently horny movie?
I don't
Does-
think he
Is that
knows
not
any other
his
kind
entire
of work.
thing?
Honestly,
I thought that was his entire
Okay, well,
thing.
he only designed. He's not involved in the movie. He just made the monster.
Sure.
Does the
Okay,
monster
and,
also look like a penis?
Nope.
Wow.
Nope. This is the
Now-
other direction.
Lest you think he's gotten too creative, though, he also did do monster design for a movie called Attack of the Killer Condom.
Nice.
Yeah.
God, I love him.
Frankly, Attack of the Killer Condom feels like it could be part of the Species universe. The gist of
Yeah.
Species is...
Wait, no, really quick. Can you pull up a picture of the monster? Aha!
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Aha! Yep.
The thing's nipples look like Stratocaster tone knobs.
Oh,
This means something pretty much only to Jeff.
dialing in a tone there, huh?
Oh, we're dialing in a
I
tone.
can't really say anything about this monster design without incriminating myself, I think.
Oh, yep. Uh-huh. That's a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
Syl of the movie Species, female monster, Darth Vader species. That's the Pinterest title for this image. There's no Darth Vader here. I don't know why that's there. Anyway, the gist of Species, all right, is
Oh, wow.
humanity sends a signal out into space. The signal has the all the info for human DNA and like a couple other things, right? Like some poems and shit like that. They get back a signal with instructions on how to make infinite clean energy. And they're like, oh my
Nice.
God, the aliens must be nice. They gave us infinite clean energy.
Well, that is pretty nice.
And then there's also, this is some DNA that you can combine with your DNA. So they decide to try it. And they make Syl. And Syl is a super fast growing, damn, I gotta breed type alien.
Mhm.
butterfly,
Starts the
yeah.
movie as a child, gets away, eats a person, and then is like, all right, cool. Now I'm a sexy naked adult. And Syl then spends at least 40% of the movie like butt and bush naked.
Yeah. If
Like,
you want audience, if you want to Google what this creature looks like, for one, I highly recommend it because it's an
first-
experience,
Absolutely.
but also don't
got
do it
it.
in public.
Also,
though,
if you're familiar
very
with
worth
H.R.
noting-
Giger, this thing's familiar. This is just classic Giger,
this
top
is
to bottom.
important for me to make you know, though.
Yeah.
The alien form, not very often seen in this
Bummer.
movie. It is mostly the actress full nude.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a bummer. I'm here
It is a
for,
bummer.
for the HR Giger.
Yeah. I mean,
In
for
the first
Giger
movie, the
monster.
alien is exclusively CG, with the exception of some like nightmare sequence moments where she sees herself as the alien, because it's the alien within herself fighting with her human DNA kind of thing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
The second movie, because I saw the first two so far of 4,
Right.
the second movie, you don't see her naked nearly as much. There's a lot of other women you see naked though, which feels way sleazier if we're being honest.
A little bit.
And there's a dude this time who's doing the fucking. And let me
Whoa.
tell you, do you want to know how many dicks you get to see?
How many?
4.
Oh my God, is there more than one?
Fucking 0.
Fuck,
No
what?
penis.
No dong?
Because they know their market. They know the people watching Species are people who are like, oh,
They
you know what I mean?
probably had to pay H.R. Giger more money to get him to not put dicks on the monster. Like, what the fuck? Like,
That's true.
Well, there
Yeah.
is a male monster design, and it's not CG in the second one.
Okay.
There's a male and female monster.
Well, there's that.
And I don't know if he's hanging dong, but the human, you don't see any human dick.
God.
So
Tragic.
Ridiculous.
by the end of the movie, the guy has had like 17 children because he has super fast children, just like the other stuff. So it's something else. I'll tell you that.
Well, I tell you what.
And I think this is the
Boy,
one
I'll tell
Nina
you
wanted me
what.
to talk
Yes,
about.
that is.
So I'm gonna the final one that will segue into what Nina wants to talk about. We saw Jigsaw, which fans of the Discord may have already seen me ranking all of the Saw movies, all 10 of them, in order of best to worst.
Mm-hmm.
Jigsaw sits squarely at the bottom.
Yeah,
I thought the
Jigsaw's
bottom was distinctly reserved for Spiral.
Yeah.
I'm wrong. Spiral has some classic Saw traps in it.
The traps
and
are real
frankly,
good.
the traps are what saved Spiral from the Book of Saw over Jigsaw.
From
I
the Book
speak
of
for
Saw.
the dead. It's so fucking
It's
bad.
so cringy.
It's so bad.
Sorry, hold
And the
on.
traps
John
aren't
Kramer
even
says that he
good.
speaks for the dead.
No. No, it's the other guy.
John Kramer's
fake John Kramer.
Out the ass assistant. Look,
Yeah.
all of the other assistants, I get.
Okay, what? Let me give you do we all know, spoiler alert for the episode, that Corey in Halloween Ends feels a little like a self-insert?
What?
Hypothetically.
No.
Just a little bit, maybe? We can agree on that lightly?
You have no
Now,
idea
let's
the
take-
essay I have written on that.
Now let's take this guy who is, I survived Jigsaw's saw trap and I'm the one that confused his x-rays.
Oh.
And that's the reason he didn't know he had cancer until it was inoperable, because I put the wrong name on the wrong x-ray. But I
Skill
survived the first trap
He
because
survived the
Jigsaw
trap.
rescued me, because he realized that I shouldn't die for a simple mistake like making him die of cancer because I confused his doctor.
That's like his entire thing. That's
It is
Jigsaw's
his-
entire
it is
thing.
his
Okay,
entire
let
thing.
me-
Gordon
let me
already
add
wasn't paying
something.
attention. Like,
Okay, Dr. Gordon, my beloved. Anyway, the actual there's kind of a double meaning to the whole "wouldn't let me die for a simple mistake." This man, I think his name's Logan, did pass out and was passed out and did not wake up for the beginning of the trap, and Jigsaw stepped in to pull him out of the trap because he realized that it wasn't a fair trap because the man did not wake up in time. So a simple mistake thing means either because messing up the names on the x-rays was a simple mistake, or he didn't deserve to die for not waking up in time, which was a mistake on Jigsaw's part for mistaking the dosage or something, not setting up the trap in a way where Logan would have woken up in time.
Mhm.
Either way, Logan is fucking annoying. All the other apprentices that we learn of who have been there the whole time, like,
They all
make
have a
sense.
reason.
And they have a backstory, and we saw their traps in real time. This guy is really just like, they felt like it was a twist they'd done before, so they had to do it again. It sucked. 0 out of 10.
Ugh.
Hated Jigsaw.
Mhm.
Traps weren't good. Villain wasn't good. The last kill is so CG that it really is shameful.
Yeah.
ugh.
And he, in his ending monologue, he talks about how he and John are so important because they speak for the dead, which is a weird thing to say. Someone's been reading too much Orson Scott Card.
Yeah.
But then the movie ends with the classic game over, slam the bathroom door shut scene.
Oh.
Except he stands there like a T-posing man going, I speak for the dead, and slams the door shut. Because from the minute he's revealed as the new Jigsaw apprentice, he speaks in the most disgusting monotone fake
He
Jigsaw
sounds
voice.
like he's mimicking the "I want to play a game"
Yeah.
voice.
John and I have worked so long to build our empire and to bring true justice to the world. Shut the fuck
up. Anyway,
man.
Jigsaw sucked.
Yeah, so Jigsaw's bad.
Jigsaw bad.
Spiral also sucks ass. I don't want to watch either of them again, but I would watch Spiral first because at least it has normal traps. All these traps are really bad.
Love that. Fun.
Wow.
Anybody else have any ghouls?
I do. I'll be quick. I was recommended a TV series from 2013 that aired on BBC called Utopia. It has some really, really well done gore and killing scenes. And the soundtrack is hypnotic. It's mostly EDM with some really interesting kind of like improvised instruments and using sound effects from the show
Cool.
remixed to be rhythm and instruments. Like there's one of the kills that comes up often is a gas tank that has like mouth thing and it makes kind of a hissing noise when it's operated, and he used that and remixed it into the soundtrack as part of the percussion.
Ooh.
Every time I listen to these tracks, I'm picking up on new elements. I love the soundtrack. So the soundtrack's actually what I listened to first because someone sent me a track from it. And then I watched the series. And the series is really good. It's well written, well acted, and unfortunately extremely politically predictive of 2020.
Interesting.
The plot is about a scientist from the Cold War who made a comic book that details all of his Cold War experiments that he ran and what he developed. Spoilers for Utopia 2013. If anyone cares, I think it's really good. A lot of it does rely on kind of twists, but I would just listen to the soundtrack, honestly. The thing he developed is a gene that will make a good percentage of the population infertile. And the way that this works is they put it into a vaccine.
I knew it.
So not only that, but another major plot point ongoing is this idea that one of the ongoing plot points is that not only is there something in the vaccine that is going to make people infertile, but also world governments have this secret society running them that is going to make a flu named after the country it originates from, which is Russia in this story.
Okay.
The Russian flu that they're
Right.
going to release on the world so that the population needs this vaccine.
Yeah, I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, what are you talking about, Nina?
2013, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, 2013.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about 2020.
So, and then my last thing I'll say about this, because I love the character dynamics, I love the writing. There's a lot, again, the secret organization employs these two, hitmen who I really enjoyed as characters. The opening scene to the show uses both of them in a really kind of fun and scary way that really quickly communicates the importance of their mission and the ruthlessness at which they're willing to operate. But they did try to make an American reboot because for some reason Americans want to reboot BBC stuff. I literally don't understand why.
They can't even make subtitle related arguments for this. It's bullshit.
No, it's bullshit. And they ruined, the original series has this really bright color palette that emphasizes yellows and greens.
Ooh.
And the Amazon adaptation dulls it right down. I haven't heard the soundtrack for the Amazon one. I doubt it's as good. Anyway, let me tell you when they announced and released this first season. August of 2020.
Oh.
Oh no.
How are you gonna do that?
Oh.
I don't understand.
Ooh.
Yeah, anyway, that's Utopia.
Love it.
Wow.
Sure
Yeah.
is.
I
Goddamn.
binged it over the course of 2 days, and I am a changed person.
Love it. Iconic.
Iconic.
Well
Emma,
then,
did we all talk our goals?
I believe so.
Jeff?
I mean, the ghoul that I've got. I mean, I've got two ghouls. One that's more relevant to the podcast, and it's actually a book ghoul, which we do gab on occasion. I finished The Forgotten Lyric today.
Oh shit!
hey, let's go.
Yeah, it is a thoroughly beautiful book, and I love it. Something less significant in my life, though, is a movie that I watched that, I mean, I might as well just say what it's called. I wasn't telling you guys about the title of it earlier, but, like, who gives a shit? This movie is called Baby Cat. It came out in 2023. It's on Tubi. It is a rom-com about a lesbian cat girl, among other things. Here's the thing, though. I'm not claiming this movie to be good whatsoever, just to make sure we get that out ahead. It's not a good movie. It's got actually some of the most thoroughly terrible green screen work I have ever seen in anything. As in, like, backgrounds are shaking while characters are standing still. It's ridiculous bad.
Oh my god.
But
I
it's
love
got
that.
some of the most entertaining side characters in it. One of which is the most fun non-binary character I have ever seen in anything ever. Their name is Max Power. Max Power is only ever seen wearing a pair of oversized blue swim trunks and a fully unbuttoned open Hawaiian shirt.
Slay.
At one point, the main character says that she's going for a run and offers for Max to go with her, and Max declines, saying, "No thanks, I'm working on a big belly."
Oh my god.
God, I want to
love
watch
that.
this movie
Max
so
Power is
bad.
fantastic. Also, there's another side character who has even less effect on the plot than Max does, who has one of the funniest lines I've ever heard in anything. This is said without very much fanfare. Basically, she's talking about her ex and how well his career is going relative to hers. And the main character of the movie says, you know, you shouldn't compare yourself to other people like this. And this girl says, but without revenge, how am I supposed to know when I'm living well?
God,
Ooh.
so
Interesting.
true,
I
bestie.
fucking love that.
So just to read the IMDb like synopsis of this movie,
Yeah,
or
go
not
for it.
synopsis, but like little teaser language.
Yeah.
When Dana moves into her new apartment, she falls in love with the building's cat, but the cat is actually an adult woman in a costume.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting.
There
I
are-
said I wouldn't
Incredible.
judge you for
I wouldn't
movies
be
you
mad
watch.
if you did judge me for this, and having watched the movie, I expect it. There's a significant number of sex scenes in it, just to be fully clear. I was watching for Max, though. I was there for Max Power.
I do have a question. Was it just the poster that drew you in?
Listen, I'm not accepting questions at this time.
What's it called again?
It's in
The
the chat.
plot seemed interesting, and I was extremely high, and like it just seemed like a good enough idea.
It does seem like a great high movie.
Jeff,
Just
this
right
looks
off
like
the
a
bat.
2-bit porno.
It does, as a matter of fact, it does. Yes.
Wow. Okay, great.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Casual Obsession, the horror movie podcast where we talk about horror movies. Today we are continuing our Slashtober yearly event. We are talking about Halloween Ends, the final Halloween movie. With us today is me, Emma, of course, Jeff,
Of course.
Heidi ho.
Noah,
Of course.
Nina,
Hi.
and special guest, Edge.
Hello, I am your resident Michael Myers expert, and my credentials are that he is the only character I own on Fortnite.
Oh, there you
Ooh.
go.
That's
Yeah. A recent
incredible.
purchase.
I did not buy it, someone bought it for me, like day
Oh,
one.
that's,
that's
really
even
nice of them.
worse.
Yeah, it's good skin. Good skin.
Diagnosed.
All right,
Michael
well-
fan.
What
Halloween
if Michael told you
ends.
to get out of his swamp edge?
Halloween Ends, of course, is a movie about our favorite best boy, Michael Myers, kind of
Is it though?
terrorizing this town that he's in. It's not exactly. A lot of this movie, we're following a different character called Corry, who runs into Michael Myers and kind of becomes like his apprentice almost. We'll talk about that more later on, but that's a good like little teaser of what the movie is. They kill people. There's a new killer guy. Michael Myers is there. It's great.
That does
Hell
make
yeah.
the movie sound like it could be appealing.
Yeah. But speaking of appealing, let's hear how appealing it was to our critics. Noah, what do you have
All right.
for us?
Have I got the shits for you today?
Oh.
You what?
Noah's got the shits?
On IMDb, we're clocking a 5 out of 10.
Oh.
Let's
On
go.
All
Rotten
right.
Tomatoes, we got a 40%.
Nice.
Metacritic is a 47.
Ooh.
And
Incredible.
Letterboxd is a 2.1 out of 5.
Ooh.
Let's
Wow.
go.
Once again,
I tell
very
ya.
consistent. Just like the last episode, we were like, "Oh, this is actually peer reviewed. The 5 is 5." This
I'm
is
just
like,
saying, it's the voice of the people have come together
Yeah.
to talk about how they're like, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone says
you
Halloween
have-
ends. It could have been a little worse, I guess.
but you know what I'm hearing a little voice saying, but Noah, what about Ebert?
What
And then
about
another
Ebert?
little voice saying, Ebert died so long ago. What?
Ebert is dead.
Well, I got an Ebert for you.
Long live
Let's
Ebert.
go.
Brian Tellerico. I believe
okay.
I believe I've brought him up on the podcast before
That's a
because
familiar
his
name.
is so familiar.
That's a very familiar name. Yeah.
But
It could just be because of Tommy Tallarico, the guy who totally made the Roblox oof.
that doesn't
but-
sound right to me
That's
at all. no.
definitely nothing
That sounds
I know anything
unfamiliar.
about. I've never watched that video.
I think you saying that
I'm
name
talking
actually
about-
removed the familiarity of Brian Tallarico's
That's
name.
so funny. God, that's how it should
I
be.
believe I've quoted him before on
Yeah.
the podcast, either as it could have even been Halloween last year
It may have been.
because he's reviewed all the new ones.
Oh, that probably was when it was then.
Probably.
And a couple others that we've covered. But what Brian has to say is, and I'm just taking the first paragraph of his review for Ebert because I think
Nice.
it really sums up the entire article. I wrote in my review of the 2018 reboot of Halloween that the team behind the film didn't really understand what made the first film a masterpiece. Not to be that guy, but if the cluttered Halloween kills didn't prove me right, then the baffling Halloween Ends certainly does. What's so bizarre about this strange sequel is that it's easy to admire its wide swings at doing something different with a trilogy closer. But Green and his team can't figure out how to wed their undeniable ambition to something that's coherent. Much like the criticism of the notoriously divisive Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, and some of the structure is intentionally a nod to that diversion from the Michael Myers formula. Halloween Ends is barely a Halloween movie.
Fucking roasted.
Now-
Interesting. I
1.5
I
out
don't
of 4.
agree that I thought 2018 Halloween was great.
I also
yeah.
love 2018.
2018
Halloween.
was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I think while I can understand where he's coming from in the they don't understand what makes the original
Oh,
great.
totally.
The original is just a stalker horror movie, you know?
Yeah.
It's nice because everything about life is so normal, and then Michael Myers happens to show up.
Yeah, in 2018
And that really is
doesn't.
very, very effective.
Yeah.
2018 is about generational trauma and breaking the cycle of abuse, and Michael Myers.
Yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, but it's like
And
it's
also
like,
Michael's there.
it's like the Flanderized like Jasonator version of Michael Myers, though, rather than
Yeah.
what you get in the original.
Yeah,
Yeah.
peak pop culture.
Mm.
Michael Myers
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
at play here.
A lot of brute
Yeah.
force.
Definitely.
Now,
a lot of and honestly, it's the brutality of Rob Zombie's Michael Myers
Really.
in a normal movie,
Yeah,
which is
Yeah.
Yeah.
disconcerting and so much fun. I love 2018, but
it's a good one.
in the context of this statement, I definitely get where he's coming from. But
Yes.
I also hear, while I'm talking, there's a little voice saying, but what about Twitter Brandon? Noah,
What
before
That was
recording,
me.
also
I'm the
Twitter
little
Brandon
voice.
said something. And Edge, I want you to plug your ears.
Oh no,
What do you mean?
he liked it.
Twitter Brandon watched October 19th, 2022.
Oh no.
Oh man, deeply, deeply adored this bizarre pleasure, or the bizarre pleasures of this wonderful movie.
I have to fight him in the
Christine,
street.
But Michael is the car. romance picture
What?
was not what I was expecting after the horrendous kills, but I am so happy it's the path they chose. Almost a shame Lori is in it at all.
What's this man
A
saying?
swing for the ages. So
See,
to
We're back
translate,
to hating Twitter
I feel like
Brandon
I've
on this
been gaslit
podcast.
into thinking Twitter Brandon is a good dude who has good takes, but I promise you, he has his moments.
firstly, he
Hilarious.
has.
when
Oh man, he's
he goes,
cooking on
he
this
goes
one.
hard.
He's cooking. So his opinion is
Don't let him cook.
He
Not
does
let
not
him
cook.
like these franchise reboots, right?
Cut off this man's electricity so he can't cook
he did
anymore.
not like Kills.
Kills
and
is such a
then-
better movie than this. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he loves that they tried something fucking weird in this because I remember him talking a lot about it on Twitter.
Yeah.
He loved that they really just went for the fences with this one. He really liked that. And he's like, whether it worked or not is up to personal interpretation. But I really love that they really went for it and I had a lot of fun. And frankly, I do love Christine, but Michael's the car. I think that's
I-
really funny.
I feel like that sentence is going to just age me and just absolutely decay my soul.
I hated this review so much. Tell you what, I
That-
hate the fact that I have found myself agreeing with Twitter Brandon on literally anything now that I've heard him say this.
Say, yes, you get it now.
Oh,
yeah,
wait,
I'm
oh,
being
yes,
a
oh, wait,
you
Twitter
have to
now at
understand.
this
Oh,
point.
sorry. I didn't realize that we lost nuance in the modern society. I thought we were allowed to have different opinions. here.
No opinions allowed. Actually, I'm an art
I'm
fascist
setting the stage
now,
for you, Emma. You owe
specifically
me.
because of Brandon.
Good.
So
Wow.
on the heel end of the Twitter Brandon review.
It was all healing.
So hold on. Before we jump to our views of this movie, I do want to give a single fun fact about this
Oh, I'd
movie.
love
Oh,
a
okay.
fun fact.
Oh no.
Additional reference to the number 13.
Oh,
this is
shit.
the 13th Halloween movie to come out.
Yo! N64 is eating
Yeah.
good this week.
It was literally N64 posting. I was like, is there...
Is there one?
There have been
Can
a
we
lot of
find
horror
one?
movies. How many have there actually been? And there's been 13.
Wow.
Yeah.
13 Halloween.
Wow. 13 Halloween.
Okay, Noah, take it away.
All right. This is not a return of 10-star Noah. I feel like I have to preface many of my reviews with this.
Yeah,
If it's
you
a
do.
movie I watched in the past and I'm watching again, right?
Mhm.
And so for some context, we watched Halloween Ends in theaters. And by we, I mean me, Nina, and Jeff
Yeah.
were in a dead, empty theater
It was just
where
us.
they didn't remember to turn the lights down for the first half of the movie because they thought it was empty.
They never closed
And-
the door
Wow.
either. It was
Yeah, they
open
never
whole
closed the
time.
door, and we are sitting here talking real loud,
I forgot
and we
about
are
this.
having a good fucking
We were
time.
being obnoxious, straight up. If there had been other
And-
people
And
in the
why
theater
shouldn't we have been?
and
And
they
I-
literally murdered us over it, they would have been right. Like
And I will say, my review of the movie was tainted by the fact that I had a really, really good time,
Mine as
and I
well.
rated it a 7 out of 10, which
Mm.
is a half star lower than I rated Kills in the theater. I want to say I rated Kills an 8. All right.
You rated
Alright.
Kills an 8?
In the theater, yeah. My
Okay.
post theater experience with Kills was an 8 because it was some fun Michael shit.
it was really
right?
fun in the theater.
Okay, and I believe my
Oh, yeah.
post theater experience for Halloween 18 was 10 out of 10.
Hmm.
And I think I maintained that. I like Halloween 2018.
It's good.
But in this recent rewatch, I'm sitting, I'm watching, and I'm like, you know what? This sure is worse than I remember.
Yeah.
But also, it's not as worse as I've built it up to be in my head.
Hmm?
There's plenty of issues. Do not get me wrong. And my
Mm.
rating should probably be lower than it is. But I had just as much fun listening to Nina say, "Oh my God, pause the movie," and then complaining as I did in the theater the first time. And frankly, what more could I want?
True.
Also,
yeah.
I thought I owned this, or I thought it was streaming somewhere normal. Now, we had to rent it, and I
yeah.
actually feel a
Yeah.
little ripped off by that. But I give it a 5 out of 10.
Okay.
Wow,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was expecting you to, with all the caveats you were giving, I was expecting the rating to be higher than a 5.
Yeah.
Frankly, the
bracing
caveat
myself.
was for the 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Fair.
Because I knew Edge was having a heart attack when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Because we got out of the theater. Nina and I were texting Edge, and Edge was like, I'm not going to say anything because Edge will share her own opinions.
Yeah, nice, perfect.
Um,
Jeff, would
yeah.
you like to go next?
I'm capable of doing that. I'm giving it a 4. This is a movie that I thoroughly believe is not good entirely because of writing, but like the execution of the scenes and such, like it maintains an atmosphere that fools me into enjoying it while I'm watching it. But then the
Yeah.
moment that I
One
put any
thing-
thought into
oh,
it
yeah.
at all, I'm like, no part of this works. Literally any of it. There's no angle that you can approach this movie from where it works.
what pisses me off is David Gordon Green
Yeah.
has such
Oh.
a clean vision for this movie. Like, it's so obvious that he knows what he wants to do with this movie.
Yeah. And it's
Uh,
present his
visually.
new Halloween Michael replacement OC, Corey.
No, I mean, like, just visually.
He's
It's a
like-
gorgeous movie to look at. Just like the
Absolutely.
other 2 Halloween movies. It's
They
really
look
good to look
great.
at.
They look fantastic. Yeah.
But man, I just... And in the 3 movies of his I've seen, nothing has made me want to watch the rest of his stuff except to see how it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
What
about to
other
go
stuff
watching those
has
new
he
Exorcist
done?
movies, though, because fuck that.
Oh, the new Exorcist movie.
I've heard it was really bad.
Yeah, it also has 5 stars on IMDb.
Oh, imagine that.
Yeah.
It also has 2.1 on Letterboxd.
Whoa, imagine that.
Imagine that. Nina, would you like to go?
Sure. All right. I like self-insert fic. I do. I've got some. Don't worry about it. But I like good self-insert fanfic. I like self-insert fanfic with a little shame.
Yeah.
This has none. It does
Yeah.
have some kills that I enjoy.
It does.
Yeah, this one doesn't reel itself back in from being self-insert fanfic at all. As someone who writes it, like, it's more satisfying when it's more like in character and not like, you wouldn't fucking say that, you know? And this movie's entirely unsatisfying because none of the like interactions between the self-insert and the like main cast are believable to me. They're all written to make him the bestest baby boy in the world.
Yeah. Well, the interactions between the main cast internally are already like kind of really like, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Especially given previous movies' character development for these characters.
Yeah.
But I like 2 of the kills a lot, so 4 out of 10.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
That's valid. That's valid. I think, by the way, I would just like to quickly insert, I think the movie that this director is probably most acclaimed for would be Pineapple Express.
Oh.
Oh, I've heard of that one. I've never seen it.
I've never watched it, but in high school, people loved that shit, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Huh. Oh, wait, that means...
Yeah.
Oh, that means that David Gordon Green is the guy who was considered to direct the new Suspiria before Luca Guadagnino took it.
God,
Maybe.
I'm
This
so
is-
glad
Oh my
he didn't
God.
touch it.
Yeah, this is the guy that Dario Argento basically said, don't fucking let him touch my baby. And that's why we have Luca Guadagnino doing Suspiria
That's
in 2018
hilarious.
instead.
Thank God.
Oh, wow.
Edge, would you like to talk about your feelings about this movie?
Or do we want to save Edge for end?
No.
Edge is a guest.
I
just
feel like
if we're
I'm
gonna get
calling
an
an
8 and we're
audible
gonna get a
on this
1
one.
or a 0, then I think that they should.
I'm gonna call an audible on this one and say I'm gonna go last.
Let's hear it,
Post-privilege.
Edge.
All right. So I would like to preface this with my own theater experience.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because to jump back, I don't remember what I rated Halloween Kills, but I will tell you that when I first saw Kills in the theater, I probably would have given it a 9 out of 10 or whatever, because when I am in a theater I love movies.
Right.
Is
Me
it good? I
too.
don't know. I love movies. I'm having a
Yeah.
good time. I'm there with my friends. I get to see a movie on a really big screen. This is the best
Everything
moment
is
of my
cinema.
life.
Absolutely.
In the cinema.
Cinematography, film. I
Mise
love
en
it.
scène, if you will.
Love
Whoa.
it. So I dragged my roommate to watch Halloween Ends with me because I was like, man, I just moved a few months ago, so I won't be able to see this one with my siblings. This is gonna be a bit like sad because I won't have them to talk to like for this movie. Damn. So I'm gonna drag my roommate. We're gonna see Halloween Ends. I was working at the theater, so I had free tickets, so we went to the fucking
Nice.
IMAX showing.
Oh, let's go.
So we were in comfy seats. We had this giant screen. And it sucked. There weren't a lot of people in that theater, but bless her soul, my roommate had to deal with me sitting there going, "What the fuck?" the entire time. And just sitting there going, "What's happening? What is happening? I don't get it." And then I'm
You
like,
wouldn't fucking say
man,
that.
this sucks. I don't like this. And then I get the text from Noah and Nina when they watch it going, "Yeah, that's pretty good. I liked that." And I have to sit there and go, "No. I don't think you should have, actually." So it makes me so happy that people are catching the fuck up.
They bullied us into not liking it. This is probably a fine movie, and Edge just bullied us into not liking it, honestly.
No.
No. Because I have had the same stance on this movie since I saw it. If you reskinned this movie's script and replaced Michael Myers with Slender Man, this would be an 8 out of 10 fanfic. I would have read the
No,
fuck
yeah,
out of it.
100% though.
I would have
Actually,
read
though.
the fuck out of it. But it's not.
And you replace Corey with like Jeff the Killer or some bullshit like that. Like
He could even still be the self-insert OC Gary Stu of your dreams.
Gary Stu.
It still could be whoever you want it to be. You could have this be a YN reader fanfic. But because it's Michael, because it's Halloween, it's bad. I am going to put it at like a 3 out of 10. Because, again, there are shots set up very well. The gore is done very well. Like, all the effects and everything, it's done fairly well. But, like, when those are, like, the blocks are being handed to build something, and it's already flawed from the start, from the very concept of the movie you're being given,
Really?
there's not much you can do.
Yeah.
So I am staying low for this one. And
That's higher than I thought you would give it, honestly.
Yeah,
Again, it's
actually.
genuinely just because there are a few moments where I go, wow, I enjoy movies. And it's not bad on a technical visual level
Sure.
for
Mhm.
most of it.
But the writing.
So
Yeah.
the writing
And
is
in
just
scenes, the
dragging it
acting,
down.
And
The writing, the acting, I have a lot to say on it.
Yeah.
and you'll have plenty of time to say it.
You'll have plenty of time to say it, absolutely. Last but not least, Emma, what did you think about the movie? Oh, thanks so much. Mina keeps posting these fucking memes in chat, and they're so funny.
We're gonna post all of these in the episode chat when it releases, so everyone can see what we're seeing here. But
It's all I
so
have.
good.
It's all I have to contribute are memes.
it's enough.
Okay,
I
well,
think.
everybody else has talked about their theater experience, so I would like to talk about my theater experience to preface my score as well. Because I did have a very positive theater experience with this movie. I saw it at the Alamo Drafthouse in DC, packed theater.
Beer?
Huh?
There was beer there? God, that
I
would
mean,
have
there
made our
is-
No.
movie experience way
There
Not
is
draft
beer
houses
at
in
the Alamo
beer,
Draft
it's draft
House.
houses in like writing. It's where people go to write things.
Oh, I thought you were gonna go for the Alamo
They-
Draft House where they get people to fight in the Alamo again.
Actually, it's like really
Oh,
just cold and
tragically,
windy
no.
in the corner. That's why they call it the draft house.
It's a great movie theater. I love Alamo Draft House, and I would
Hashtag not
always get my seat in the very back row. They got very comfortable seats, reclined back. I think I probably got some chicken tendies with like a good like gravy dip and like a Dr. Pepper and maybe like an alcohol of some kind. There was a very nice lady that was stood up on her date that sat next to me. It was her first time. I walked her through how Draft House works because like all of the staff was like very busy. She ended up abandoning the movie during the trailers because like
Fair enough.
her date never showed up.
That's valid.
Yeah, super valid.
Saved
So
her,
I had
really.
2 seats next to me empty, which was nice as well. But my theater was very reactive. It was very fun. It was a great time. And I walked away from that movie and I was like, wow, that was a fun experience. I enjoyed that. But now it's been a year. There's been a lot of discussion about this movie, a lot of people talking about it. And I was very interested to see how I would feel watching it again. What would stand out to me? Like, how would I feel away from that positive theater experience? And let me tell you, I think I enjoyed the movie even more.
What?
I'm giving it an 8 out of 10, you fucking
Holy
losers.
fuck. It's not that good.
My
not
edge
that
bullied us into disliking this movie theory is getting stronger.
I am so
I
excited
said
to
I
talk
liked it
about...
well enough. You are the one.
No,
that
no, no,
hated
no,
it.
no, no, no. Bullied us after the first viewing. I also liked it well enough.
Yeah, the first viewing was fun. I did feel bullied, and that's why I stopped texting back. Also, I was driving. But like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna do?
Okay,
This-
I have my reasons for not liking it.
Well,
that we
I'm
will
You know,
so
wait.
excited to talk about this movie and to talk about why I like this movie and things that stood out to me and just concepts and all this other stuff. It's going to be wonderful. But
all
before
right.
we jump into all of that, we need to talk about content warnings.
I
got a
have
couple
few
for
of
us here.
those.
Yeah.
Let me hit mine first, Edge. Don't worry.
All right.
We have a fake out suicide. Then we have an attempted suicide. And then we have so much gore.
And child death.
Yeah.
A
Oh,
kid
shit.
dies right
Yeah,
at the beginning of the
Noah.
movie,
Jeez
you see it
Louise.
Yeah,
happen.
grab
Yeah.
the child
Forgot
death.
about that. I'm not gonna lie.
That
I forgot
actually
about
caught me.
It's the linchpin of the
significantly
whole
by
movie, but I
surprise the
forgot.
first time.
That
Me
was
too.
an incredible death.
Real good.
It's a
real
brutal
well-played
opening.
It's a real
It,
brutal.
it's a really good opening scene. I wish that the rest of the movie had been
Yeah.
as strong as that.
Mm.
Edge, do you have any others?
A lot of flashing lights in one scene.
Yes.
It
It's bad.
really gets bad at the bar scene.
Yeah.
Which
It's
is
a
terrible
very
because that
big
scene
strobe
already
warning.
sucks.
Yeah, I have some notes about that scene.
Yeah.
I didn't hate that scene.
Why?
God.
Yeah.
You should.
I don't think I should. I think you're being a hater.
I may be. I think I've got reason to be a hater.
Yeah, that's
Noah,
what I'm
come
here
to my
for.
side, Noah.
I've already been on this side. I'm the most second most positive review.
God.
All right. So after any other content warnings, anything else that jumps out at people?
Emma, I think you were about to skip the scary rating.
I wasn't actually. I just wanted to make sure that we got all the content warnings, and then I was gonna like jokingly probe for somebody to ask about the scary rating.
Oh, my mistake.
Yeah.
How about that
Fucked
scary
it up,
rating?
Noah.
It's like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, that adds up.
There's some like good like surprising kills and like brutal kills, but none of them are like brutal in a way that's like super uncomfortable to watch or scary. So I don't think it's a very scary movie, but I will give it 1 point for imagination on some of the kills.
Sure.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So right after that, I was told Edge was handling some more of the substantive hosting parts. So Edge, would you like to give us our spoiler summary for the movie?
I would. I really would.
Perfect.
We open on Halloween 2019, Corey arriving at a last-minute babysitting gig, despite the fact he is not a babysitter, which makes it different from, original Halloween concepts.
Non-babysitter, yeah.
The mom of the kid hypes up this kid to be, like, really super weird.
But then the kid's
just
just an
talking
ordinary
about, like,
asshole.
Yeah, she really, like, hypes up, like, yeah, Michael Myers' existence, like, in the same town fucked this kid up. He will not stop pissing himself. He has nightmares. He hears voices. Like, they just casually drop, yeah, this kid hears voices, and that's never actually anything,
Yeah. If that kid had survived, he would have become the pee pee poo poo man.
right? Still pissing himself constantly.
Constantly.
So she goes through this whole list and is like, so just don't show the kid anything scary. So, of course, Corey immediately shows the kid something, like, as fucked up as he can find. Because he's not a babysitter and he's shit at it.
It's the thing.
And it is the
Yeah.
thing. And the thing is thangin', horrendously.
It's banging. Actually, that's one of the funniest bits of the opening is the scene that they show is not the first fucked up scene in the thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, maybe this is a little too inappropriate after we've already seen the amalgamation dog.
See, that's the thing. They are a significant way into this movie, and then this kid does the 180 of becoming an asshole. How long did that kid sit there and pretend to be okay after his parents left? Why did he wait for the last 20 minutes of this night to suddenly just become the biggest asshole kid that any babysitter's ever dealt with?
He still, like, we didn't see much, but, like, from Corey interacting with the kid while he's watching the movie, the kid still kind of seemed like an asshole.
He seemed like he was being
So
a
he was
dick.
probably
A little
just an
bit,
asshole
yeah.
through the whole night.
But he does seem like visibly taken aback and shocked at how like of a decline it takes, because he suggests like, oh yeah, we should probably do something like hide and seek instead. And the kid like gets as close as he can to calling Corey a slur. I'm gonna be real with you.
Yeah, he's trying so hard. I think he would have, but he just doesn't know any yet. He's too young for that.
Right. Like the feeling is there, the vibes are there,
Yeah.
but the knowledge is weak. So Corey ends up leaving the room for a bit, hearing a thump, coming back, finding a fallen lamp that somehow isn't broken. It did not sound like a lamp falling, whatever. But he cannot find Jeremy, this kid that he's babysitting. And he's just kind of getting more panicked, like, by the second, grabbing a knife from the kitchen, walking around. Hears the kid screaming upstairs and, like, yelling for help. So he just moseys and takes his fucking time going up there because he is
Naturally.
very scared. He he doesn't want to admit it, but he is a scared guy. But also, he knows that if the parents find out this kid, like, something happened to this kid, he's in deep shit. He goes upstairs, and the kid fakes him out and locks him in the attic. Immediately, Corey just starts panicking at first, and then just goes absolutely nuts. Like, violently angry, kicking the door and screaming about how he's gonna kill this kid. The kid's parents walk in just in time to hear all this yelling about how the babysitter is gonna kill their kid, and then Corey manages to kick open the door, and it hits Jeremy in the face, flipping him over the railing and down like 4 flights of stairs, hitting the ground, dying instantly.
My audience reaction to that was incredible.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I can only imagine. Our reaction of the three of us was
it's shocking.
loud.
Yeah,
Like, it's a very good opening scene. It's amazing. As long as you don't think about the fact that the kid would not have gone over that railing.
he wouldn't have. He's too short for that.
He's too short, and also that if he got hit directly backwards, he would not have even hit the railing.
It doesn't seem that way.
But it's a very good opening scene, and that brings us to the title sequence, where there's even more pumpkins this time.
There's so
Just kinda, like,
many
growing out of each other.
pumpkins. It's just pumpkins in pumpkins in pumpkins. It's Matryoshka pumpkins.
It really is. And then we re-enter the movie with Laurie narrating and recapping the history of Michael Myers from the original movie and the events of the last 2 movies. And we find out that the house that was very important, super important in the last movie, they spent the entire movie hyping up the fact that the house was very important. It's condemned and destroyed. They do not say this. It is shown in like 2 newspaper clippings that you can easily miss. I somehow missed that in my first watching.
I've told like 3 different people about that because I'm apparently one of the only people who actually saw it as the newspaper clipping went by.
I don't know if I just can't read or if I just was, I don't know, but the old Myers house is both condemned and destroyed. It is completely gone out of Haddonfield. Also, that Michael's just gone. He somehow vanished after the events of the last movie. They do not attempt to explain it. Nobody knows how. They just say, by the way, he's gone.
And he's
but
just
that doesn't
been
matter.
gone for like 5 years.
Right. Laurie like talks a bit about how Michael's a blight on the town and to this day is still causing paranoia and fear because they don't know what happened. It's leading to horrible consequences and death. People just cannot take the pressure of the fear Michael instills. But she is writing a memoir about her own experience with him and beating fear, survivor's guilt, and how she's moving on. She's bought a house in town now. She's raising her granddaughter, Allison, who's become a nurse. She's determined to just live well and live happy because she's let fear rule her for too long, and this has ruined her life far too long. Also, she sucks at making pie. She burns the hell out of it.
I don't know how when she opens the oven, we see that the pie is like actively flaming. Like, I don't know how you even do that with a pumpkin pie.
I don't know how you can do that with most pies.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, our babysitter from the opening, Corry, he's out of jail. We find out later that it was ruled as an accident. So if he got locked up, not much time at all. He is working at a junkyard and listening to a radio show about how Michael Myers should not have survived.
He shouldn't have, to be fair.
Yeah, it's very reasonable. There's some... The radio shows are a fun mix of things that are completely reasonable to think about and then just dialed up to the absolute, like, weirdest possible, like, explanations. But, his boss offers him a shit-ass motorcycle under the guise of making sure he actually gets to work on time, and turns out that boss, his dad. After that, we watch our titular new main character, Corry, get harassed by high school marching band kids.
God, that's funny.
Who just absolutely body him. Not only because teenagers are just cruel just by design,
but also he's Kid Killer Corey. So anytime he gets mad at them for it, they're all like, "Oh, great job beating the kid killing allegations, Corey."
Right? Like it's not an easy road for him. There's not many places he can go with that. He doesn't buy them beer, and they end up causing him to shatter a glass in his hand and just fuck it right up.
Spilled his you.
Laurie steps in, and they decide to make fun of her traumatic backstory too, because they're teenage marching band kids.
Yeah.
They end up leaving, but Laurie helps convince Corry to slash their tires, and then takes him to the ER to introduce him to her granddaughter, and also to fix his hand.
Right.
I do love Laurie just being like, commit a felony with me.
Right? Corry ends up meeting Allison, and she helps patch him up. They lock eyes, and from the start, their chemistry just begins. And he sees her get sexually harassed at work,
and he
but
says
makes sure to tell her that he thinks it's not cool, because he's a good guy. She makes a joke about having car issues, and it lists one thing about it. He manages to, like, fix it and figure out what it is, or whatever. And then she flirts at him so goddamn hard for, like, a full 2 minutes.
Oh my god.
And he does not register a damn thing.
Literally, like, it's so overt. He mentions the motorcycle, and she makes direct eye contact while saying the sentence, "Teach me to ride it." I don't know how much more obvious it gets.
I don't think you can get more obvious, because his response is to offer her his bicycle.
Listen, guys are bad at picking up the signs that they're being flirted with. We all know this.
We all know this. We all know this.
Yeah. I read a story online, I think today, where a guy was talking about, I was walking with this girl I had a crush on, and said, if a girl had a crush on me and they hit me across the head to let me know, I wouldn't be able to tell. And the girl hit him on the head, and he was like, what did you do that for?
My god.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's great.
God. So this is the beginning of the blossoming romance between Allison and Corry. Because Allison is trying to move on from her ex, Doug, the cop. And she ends up, like, talking to Laurie, like, you brought him in on purpose. And Laurie's like, he needed medical attention, actually. But also, yes. We also find out that Corry has a shit home life because his mom is super weird and overbearing.
Stephen King-ass mom.
Really creepy.
Real Stephen
Rob
King
Zombie
mom.
ass mom.
Rom Zombie's
She just
Stephen
doesn't swear
King.
enough.
Mm. Allison ends up visiting Corey at the junkyard, and he tries to actually flirt back for a minute, but then it gets interrupted. Laurie runs into Frank in the grocery store from the previous movies. And they have old people flirting banter.
It's
Turns
at this
out
point
he's
that we
learning
begin
Japanese.
to realize incredibly overt flirting is just a Strode thing, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
It's kind of cute.
Yeah,
I like.
I don't mind
I
it.
like that about them.
Completely overt flirting with just no follow-up.
None. No idea where to go with it.
No. Allison totally follows up. She immediately asks Corey
You know
out.
what?
She got his number
Okay,
and
yeah.
she
That's
asked
true.
him out.
That's
She
true.
did get his number and ask him out, but then his excuse was, I don't know, I might be late for dinner. Also, he's like 25. So Laurie and Frank have old people flirting banter. We find out that he's a weeb and he's learning Japanese and wants to travel. They keep flirting, but then just kind of don't know what to do from there. So Laurie leaves, and I noticed she doesn't pay for her groceries. She just kind of leaves.
Oh.
I don't know why that bothered me.
Frank's got that.
She's a celebrity. She doesn't have to.
She is a celebrity, and because of that, the moment she walks out of that building, she's immediately accosted by
By fans wanting an autograph, surely.
Naturally.
by the sister of one of Michael's victims. One of the few surviving victims, actually. We recognize her from the previous woman because they were Laurie's neighbors.
She's the one who got stabbed in the neck with a shattered fluorescent bulb. And definitely should be dead from that, actually.
Definitely should, honestly. But she
My favorite
survived.
part of that is that she's the final part of Dead Meat gets mad at David Gordon Green for retconning his kill count because he marked Frank as dead and he marked her as dead.
Yeah.
And they both survived in the next movie.
Gosh. But the woman's sister, that is accosting Laurie, blames her for tempting and provoking Michael.
That's right. We're victim blaming Laurie now.
Yeah, we've gone from Halloween 2018, oh, Laurie is crazy, to Halloween Kills, oh, Laurie's the only one that knows anything about Michael Myers and should be treated as the word of God on it. Right back to, oh, Laurie is crazy and this is all her fault.
Yeah.
We've come full circle back around and then amped it up. Allison actually manages to take Corey out on a date. We see they go to a Halloween party where he just wears this dumb-looking scarecrow mask.
And a sweater.
Terrible
and
mask.
they walk in and she immediately ditches him so he can stand by himself for a while she talks to people. Just immediately. And in the 5 minutes that she leaves him alone at the start of their date, he immediately gets flashed by Nick Castle, the original Michael.
Yeah.
Oh.
Allison goes and gossips with a friend
No
and the bartender,
dong, though.
and they gossip about the fact that she brought a dude with an accidental manslaughter charge to a party, and everybody really acts like everything is a lot further into a relationship plot than it is, and they definitely went more than a day or two ago.
Yeah. And the bartender has that fantastic line where she's like, "Don't listen to them, Allison. You can do whatever you want." And that's about how her delivery is.
That conversation does not play out logically.
No.
It jumps from it reminds me of some dialogue I've read where it feels like there was a line that they wanted the conversation to get to, but they couldn't figure out a natural way for it to get there. So they're just like, we'll just have her say it.
Yeah.
It works well enough. We'll just have her say it. It doesn't.
There's a lot of scenes in this movie that feel like they had a half hour of build-up just to this one scene, but there's no actual build-up.
Yeah.
So now it's just a disjointed scene that feels like it should have had a lot more working towards it.
And you may wonder, where did all this time go that we could have been actually setting this stuff up? It's for our dark wave motorcycle montages.
Which are
There's a lot of motorcycle
actually some pretty
montage.
fun scenes if you like that dark wave and fun lighting and motorcycle scenes.
Gosh.
I do, but not maybe from my Halloween movies.
Yeah.
Perhaps in a different context, right?
So Allison and Corry have a single drink and then just absolutely go fucking insane. The first time
They're
I saw this
raging.
sequence, I thought that the entire plot would have been that Corry somehow got roofied because he looks like he is absolutely dying.
Yeah.
He looks like he's melting. He looks like something happened to him.
He's on
And
like
then he has,
1.5
like-
beers, but he's
he
acting like he's
hits-
on Molly.
Yeah.
Like-
And then he hits the ground and shakes, and it looks like he's having a seizure.
Yeah.
But I think
And this
I
is
think
with the
he just
flashing
nutted
lights
or
on.
something. I don't
Like,
know. He just
yeah.
gets back up.
It's
Because there are
weird.
strobe lights and he's shaking, he is on the ground, he doesn't look like he knows where he is. Or half of it, he doesn't look like he's having a good time, and then he suddenly does. And then he excuses himself from the main dancing to go get another beer, runs into the mom of the kid that he killed.
This is very clearly
Uh,
like a Halloween party at a college bar, by the way.
Yeah. You know, what I really love doing near the anniversary of my child son's death
As a
is
50-something-year-old
finding the
woman.
hypest party bar in town and sitting at the bar mournfully in something that vaguely looks like the Halloween
The same
costume that I wore the night my son died.
And then get mad at people for having a good time, of course.
Yeah. But
Specifically at the guy who killed my child 4 years ago for daring to be out in public.
Yeah.
yeah, and she goes on this whole thing about calling him evil. She doesn't care that the judge ruled him innocent. He's pure evil. He did it on purpose. He's evil.
She said that you were angry. Innocent people don't do that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Get angry?
Yeah.
I'm really confused by her logic there. I'll pass it off as
Grief.
1960s doctor voice hysteria.
Yeah,
but
she's
like,
obviously a hysterical woman.
Yeah, she needs to do cocaine about it.
She really should.
yeah, she really
Aw.
should.
So Corry runs out of the bar after this and nearly gets hit by a car for like the third time in this movie. 90% of the time that Corry leaves any area, he almost gets hit by a car.
That does happen every time, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
And
That
then
hadn't even
Allison-
registered to
right?
me.
It happens multiple times. I don't know like what's going on. Allison follows him out. They have this entire like relationship blow up argument about how she thought that they were the same and people look at them differently, but he then yells that everyone thinks he's a psycho and he can't be fixed. You can't fix him. He tries to leave, gets bullied by marching band kids again, and starts like calling out their daddy issues, and they throw him off a bridge as they should.
They do just push him right
and
off a
then-
bridge.
He gets dragged. Corry at the bottom of this bridge gets dragged into a sewer.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need to remind everyone we are 40 minutes in to this hour 50 movie, including credits, and we have not seen Michael Myers.
Until now.
It takes another few minutes because then there's like a scene with Allison and Laurie, but then we go
yeah.
back to the sewers where Corry wakes up, gets to like walk around, see some rats, and then at the 41-minute mark, Michael finally shows up, nearly chokes Corry to death, but doesn't because he's so special.
He looks into
Vulcan
his
mind
eyes
meld.
and he sees the murder. He's got the murder mind meld going.
They have a Vulcan mind meld moment where Michael like flashes back into Corey's past, sees the murder that sees the killing, and then just lets him go. Corry stumbles out of the sewer, immediately gets accosted by a homeless man, and ends up killing him. He goes
Yeah.
home. His mom is super weird still, and it's whatever. We're back to Allison, who finds out that getting sexually harassed actually wasn't worth it. Got passed up on the promotion she was hoping for.
Oh my god, no.
And then we go back to everything else. Because of the mind meld, Corry starts doing the Michael Bush stairs. And despite the fact he could just walk up to the Strode house, he just stands by the bush for a while. And then tries to come in. Comes to tell Allison about like what happened and like getting jumped and killing someone. And she just really doesn't care. No reaction on that.
Yeah.
He then takes her to the abandoned house that he killed the kid in and explains all of what happened. Laurie goes and talks to Corey's mom, And it's still very weird because Corey's mom just continues to be weird. And blames Lori for meeting her son and having everyone hate her son because if Michael Myers hadn't existed, nobody would hate a dude that accidentally killed a kid.
Naturally, I mean.
No one. Corey is trying to apologize for freaking out of the party, says some, like, kind of suspicious stuff about being willing to burn down the entire town if Allison asked him to. Gets interrupted by Allison's ex, and then gets super aggressive. Allison decides to enable her weird freak-ass boyfriend. They have a weird motorcycle ride home, and that's whatever. Corey leaves, and Allison's ex ends up following him to the underbridge where the sewer is, where they both go into the sewer and end up fighting, and Michael gets involved and then just gets bodied immediately because he's a very old man who has been in the sewer for like 4 years now.
Eating rats
And he has,
or
like,
something, I guess.
He has half a hand missing. He's been sitting there eating rats and like mold or whatever, and he's just not having a good time. Corey forces him to get back up and like forces him to kill Doug, the ex. And then he goes back to Allison's house to pace around and talk about Michael Myers. And all of this happens in the same night. He gets an offer to go into the house, declines it, goes, kills somebody, and then comes back. Lori, finding out about all this, decides to reconsider introducing Corey to Allison and tries to make some points about it, gets shut down. She ends up meeting the dad of the kid Corey killed, who has a lot to say about commodified grief and being a town spectacle. But then, after making a lot of good points about that, does a complete 180 and goes, yeah, but this dude is evil now. I looked at him and he's evil. I can tell.
Yeah.
He didn't used to be, but he is now. We then cut to the other nurse from the ER and the doctor that had been harassing Allison going back to his house for a hookup. But unfortunately, as she's cleaning up for this hot quid pro quo HR violating sex, she hears him yelling.
And just real quickly, she is continuously calling him, what was his name? Dr. Mathis the whole time, which is very Dr. Gordon from Saw of her.
Yeah. Maybe
Well,
she
the
just has a thing.
alternative for Dr. Gordon from Saw is to call him Larry, and so I will,
Yeah, no.
Well, yeah, and it's probably a similar situation for Dr. Larry Mathis, but like...
God. She hears him getting murdered, and upon investigating whether she's actually hearing him get murdered, she sees Corey in his dumb little scarecrow mask, which I feel like would have looked a lot less stupid if it actually fit him and wasn't just slightly too small. She manages to hold him off by just slamming his hand at a sliding door.
She gets him good with that thing.
And yeah, she manages to lock it, but it doesn't matter. Michael does not care about doors, just at all. Corey watches Michael kill her, and I need to be real with you. I thought that he was about to start, like, jerking it or something.
Oh.
Because he, like, unwraps his hand, and there's a lot of detail about, like, how heavy he's breathing and just watching and staring. I thought that, like, it was gonna go a really weird direction. Like, I didn't think the movie would actually do that, but I would not be shocked if that's what that buildup was for.
It was really weird watching him,
was-
like, take the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really weird
it's-
thing where he, like, takes the bandage off and, like, squeezes his hand, and he's, like, staring. And he's just breathing really heavy
Yeah.
and watching like a creep.
Well, and it's to emphasize that, like, the cut on his hand has, like, fully healed and disappeared. Because he's,
But
like,
it hasn't.
committed a murder now, or whatever.
But that's the thing, it hasn't.
Hasn't it?
It's infected now.
Mm.
Allison points it out later that his wound is straight up infected, and it's probably because he's dragging it along glass doors at crime scenes, leaving his fingerprints everywhere. There's another sexually charged bike ride. Corey takes Allison to a radio tower, talks about how he misses his old life, doesn't care his hand is infected, and then he pretends he's gonna kill himself to make a girl like him more. It somehow works. White dudes are just kind of like that sometimes. DJ, the radio station, comes out and harasses both of them for their previous trauma, and I'm almost on his side at this point. Corey's mom gets really weird about him having a girlfriend, kicks him out of the house, slaps him, and then kisses him on the lips. I guess because...
Once again, weird Stephen King ass shit.
I don't know why they added this. Then we cut to Halloween night. Corey is sleeping in the condemned house he killed a kid in. Lori comes in to try and talk to him about how he's a threat, that she thinks he's contracted evil disease, but she thinks he can get help, but also never to speak to her granddaughter again. And then he gets really mad, blames her for introducing them, and says, if I can't have her, no one will. Which, I don't know why they changed that from the standard no one can. I don't think that's copyrighted or anything.
I think it's just meant as a
I
threat.
think Disney owns that phrase,
guess.
actually. You know, it's like the Happy Birthday
Possible.
song or something.
Oh, yeah. God. He tries to tell Lori to go crazy, go stupid, and be evil, and calls her out for probably wanting Michael to come back just to give her purpose. He then calls Allison and says that he wants to leave this town. He wants to leave, he wants to get out of here. But first he has to go get Michael's mask from the sewers, fighting him, and manages to body him. I think, like, being in the sewer just, like, debuffs Michael
It's all the black
severely,
mold.
because he always gets beat up down there. I don't know how he's managed. Allison is packing now to run away with her boyfriend of knowing him a week, maybe, suddenly starting to resent Lori for whatever reason, after building up trust for multiple movies and years, and suddenly just does not believe anything she says again. The high schoolers from before, Corey ends up going and harassing them. They follow him to the junkyard and try to steal his bike. He manages to kill one of them while they aren't looking and chases the others down in a large truck. One tries to get help from Corey's dad, but ends up shooting him in the process as he's trying to protect his son and figure out what's happening. Margot, the only decent kid from the marching band, is forced to watch Corey kill all of her friends and then get killed herself. He then goes home, gets a kitchen knife from the drawer, and kills his mom. We cut to the radio DJ Willie getting a cryptic call about how insensitive he is to tragedy, and about how you stare into the abyss, it'll stare back or something.
Yeah, it's the Nietzsche quote about hunting monsters, becoming a monster, stare into the abyss stares into you.
And he does not give a shit.
Yeah, he then pulls
also
a
doesn't
different,
hear-
deeper Nietzsche quote, which is, without music, life would be a mistake, as he puts another song on.
God, I love him.
He's
Really?
great.
He's so good.
He doesn't hear his receptionist get stabbed to death behind him. Corey then comes in, beats him to death, cuts off his tongue, and leaves it to skip on the record. Do DJs use actual records?
Some do.
Okay.
The ones who
Usually
care.
it's a gimmick thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Corey stands Allison up on their whole running away plot. In the hours that she's been left hanging, she apparently only sent him like 2 texts about it, and then sends him 2 more, and tries to figure out what's going on. Lori, thinking that her granddaughter and only family she has left is leaving and hates her, goes to her writing room, lights some jack-o'-lanterns, pouring a drink, and contemplating killing herself. She has a gun in her hands. She is called in to report a suicide. Full on, she is preparing. Corey enters to find, actually, it's a fake out. You cannot kill Laurie Strode that easily. Not even her.
So true.
She just shot a pumpkin to fake him out, and then attacks him, sends him flying through a railing, and shoots the rest of her bullets into the wall, and dares him to actually kill her. He doesn't. Instead, he stabs himself in the neck, just so that Allison can walk in and find Laurie pulling the blade out, assuming that Laurie has now dressed her boyfriend as Michael Myers and killed him.
That's what I said.
And
Where
then
is he?
she is yelling and screaming, crying, and she just goes and stands outside for a bit.
Yeah.
Laurie is not having a good time with this. Kind of regrets wasting her bullets, but then notices, hey, the back door is open. We see someone grab the discarded mask and knife from the floor, and Michael's back. Corey tries to grab at him, and Michael does not give a shit because he is out of the sewers, so he's back to full power.
That's right.
Just
The black mold was keeping him down.
it really was.
But now the training weights are
we
off.
get a cool we get a cool POV shot of Michael just choking Corey to death, and that's cool. Allison is trying to leave town on her own now and sees the radio tower on fire and gets a call from the police saying, "Hey, your grandma called us. What's going on there?"
No. Your grandma called us and said she killed herself.
Yeah, her
What's
grandma.
going on
Your
there?
grandma
Do you know what's
called and
going
said
on?
she's
Yeah,
gonna
we're
kill
not
herself.
gonna go to the house and check shit out. We are
going
going to call you, her granddaughter, and ask you if you know what the what's going on.
Cops in Haddonfield have limited
Meanwhile-
resources. That's why they haven't managed to catch Michael Myers in 5 goddamn
Right.
years.
He's been in the same place the entire time, apparently.
Yeah.
Michael and Laurie start their fated brawl of the ages, and God, how many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man? Laurie nearly gets garbage disposal, knitting needle stabbed, and much more, but she manages to pin his hand to the table with a knife, pins him down with more knives.
She crucifies him on her kitchen counter.
Yeah, she crucifies him on the kitchen
As
counter
she
and
should
throws
go
a
off,
fridge
Drops a
on him.
refrigerator on him, yeah.
And then she stabs him in the armpit, fully finishing the crucifixion.
Yeah.
Uh,
And blood and water
then,
poured out, and Michael said, "It is finished. Halloween has ended."
Then
For
she,
those of us for those listeners who we know are not religious, that was a Bible reference.
That's from the Bible, yeah.
God.
When Michael Myers
That's
gets crucified on Laurie Strode's kitchen table.
And the thief to the left of him says, "Will I also get crucified, Michael Myers?"
And Michael says,
And he just
"Truly,
breathes
today
really
you
hard."
will be with me in Haddonfield."
uh,
Anyways, Allison comes in.
yeah, Laurie monologues, takes off his mask, monologues about how she thought he was the boogeyman, but he's just a man, and slits his throat. And then he just gets back up and
God, I love
tries
that.
to choke her to death, but can't. She dares him to kill her, and we get a quick montage of all the times they've fought in the movies.
Laurie is constantly
Allison
waffling
comes-
on the whole "kill me, don't kill me" thing, huh?
Yeah.
Just bouncing back and forth.
She's really not sure about it. Allison comes back in and just breaks Michael's arm. Just straight up breaks
Just
it.
like that.
And somehow she got there before the police did, despite the fact that the police got the call, called her when she was on the other side of town. She had time to drive back across town, and apparently the police weren't even on their way yet. But then they show up, and they decide Michael is not dead enough. So they tie him to the roof of a car to parade him through town, and the cowboy sheriff returns just long enough to say, yeah, this is fine. This is
Mob
something we're
justice
legally
is
allowed to
A-OK
do.
by me, he says.
This year, it'll actually work. I promise.
He's got a new
Yeah,
shiny
forget
cowboy
the last
hat.
movie.
We've learned nothing.
Somehow, everyone can tell what's happening in this dark-ass middle of the night and makes this huge parade through town following them to the junkyard where everyone takes Michael's body off the car, a la, like, Spider-Man,
Careful,
to,
he's a
like,
hero.
carry him over and throw him in the metal crusher. There are children there. Like, it straight up shows people have brought their kids to watch this as they crush Michael in this, like, car compactor metal shredder thing.
Yeah, it's...
And then Laurie fully admits to it in her memoir. Like, fully says, yeah, all of us did vigilante justice. That was definitely illegal that night. And none of us regret it.
Also, when they turn it on, you watch Michael get shredded by the machine.
Oh, yeah.
Fully, start
You
to
watch him
finish.
just
You
get, like,
see all of it happen, which I think is a huge mistake, personally. And also, incidentally, I didn't remember that happening in the movie.
I remembered it, but it's because of something unrelated I'll talk about later. And she finishes her memoir by saying that evil doesn't die. It changes shape.
Shape.
And you see
God,
the shape of the evil within, and the evil takes a shape. And I think he was called the killer that couldn't slow down.
Maybe the true Halloween ends was inside us all along.
God. Frank visits Laurie, gives her a basket of veggie because some of the old people flirting they were doing before, and they old people flirt again. And they decide to go to Japan together, which is definitely on all of our bingo cards for the end of Halloween. And the movie ends on a shot of Laurie's living room with Michael's mask sitting on her coffee table. I hate this movie so much.
I would
We
like
did
to.
it.
I'd like to open with my thesis statement of my personal beef with this movie
Okay.
and the new trilogy.
Okay.
As a
All
whole.
right. Yes.
Okay.
So the new trilogy really, really wanted to lean into this very strong concept of, is Michael supernatural or not? Right?
Mhm.
It's a core thing where Laurie is so sure he's not just a guy. Everyone else is like, Laurie, he's just a guy. And then Laurie's like, he's just a guy. And everyone's like, oh my God, he's so much more than just a guy. But like his actions keep waffling back and forth on whether or not he's just a guy. Man operates on pure adrenaline for 12 straight hours as a non-stop killing machine, then vanishes for 5 straight years after killing like 60 people. Right?
I would also need a nap after that long.
Yeah, he was
it's 4
hibernating.
years actually.
My mistake. 4 years hibernating in the sewers after he kills all those people.
Yeah.
Right? And he's beat up. He's not doing great, right? He's like burned, he's cut, he's beat to shit. Here we are. But, huge but, he maintains, and nowhere is this lack of cohesion more visible than in the really personally big bummer Laurie and Michael fight, where I'm like, oh, I realize I never wanted to see this. You know?
Yeah.
In that closing fight where she has killed this man, there is no surviving for
Oh,
Michael
yeah.
once his throat has been heavily cut, right?
Throat
He's
cut,
dead.
wrist cut,
But
like,
he
a lot
gets
of
up
shit.
and he almost kills her, and he shouldn't be able to almost kill her. And it's like, holy fuck, Michael is supernatural. No, he's not. It's almost like they spit in your face for thinking for a second, holy shit, maybe he is more than a man. Maybe he is feeding on the fear of this city. But no, he's not. He's just a guy. I used to think he was the boogeyman, but he's just a boogeyman.
Oh my
Loves to
God,
dance.
that's so true.
And so, like, that's the issue with the trilogy as a whole, right? Because Halloween and Halloween Kills really focused on that as their theme. And then this movie even plays with it even more. Corey pops down into the sewer and they have their, like, connection moment. And it's like, holy shit, Michael's actually a malevolent, actual supernatural
It's
force
a confirmation,
of power.
right?
Michael is an actual... Yeah, it feels so cool. You know, it's like, oh my God, we got something here. And that's from then on out, Corey is like, oh my God, I saw myself in Michael and Michael saw himself in me and I'm safe. And I have found my goal in life. And that's neat. It's actually like, there's so many ways it could be cool if it then didn't keep going. He's just a guy. Remember Corey? He beat the shit out of Michael and stole his face.
Yeah.
You know, he's just a guy, you know, and that's one thing, right? But then this movie enters in the secondary conversation of a slight extension of generational trauma. Laurie's awful to her daughter, so her daughter doesn't let her see her granddaughter. Consequences of your actions. Yeah. We get is Michael diagnosed, hey, you're evil? Is that real? Or is every single bad person in this movie a person with a bad home life? And it's like, okay, well, two things can be true, but we don't know Michael's home life.
Sure.
Okay. And then, you know, Corey has a pretty bad home life. So maybe Corey is supposed to let us know that Michael also had a bad home life, right? But then everyone says, actually, even though Corey had a bad home life, he had risen past it. Corey was doing great. All these people, there's so many moments where there's these big statements being made about nature versus nurture and stuff like that. And then... well, he met Michael Myers, so you know how that is. Michael Myers ate his soul,
He stared
and now
into the
he's
abyss. The abyss stared into him. You know how it is.
You know how it goes.
And that's my big bummer in this movie, is I think that the trilogy, to Brian Tallarico's credit, I think he has a point saying that it misses the point of the original movie and how it was scary. But I don't think a remake should try and delve into the point of the original. I think a remake should do something new and different. Sure. And I think that even with how messy Kills was, it was going in that direction. And then this movie ends, and even Laurie's thesis statement about evil never dies, it just changes shape. Corny ass way to drop the shape line in there, firstly. For anyone who doesn't know, Michael Myers was called The Shape, and that was his official name for fucking ages. But Laurie doesn't even seem to understand the point of what she's trying to convey in the thing, because it's not a really good continuation of the other stuff that we've read or heard her writing as well. It just seems like the writers of this movie had what they thought was the coolest idea on planet Earth, and then here we are. And it makes me really sad because there's so much here that could have been. And instead, it's a movie that has like some cool stuff going on, but doesn't quite stick the landing for me. I actually thought this one out. So I'm feeling pretty good about myself for this. Thank you very much.
What the hell is
One
that
of
massive
my-
drink that you just held up that's almost empty?
Did you not
Oh,
get
Jeff
the
wasn't here for that.
introduction to that?
Oh, this is a quart of Alabama Slammer.
Oh my god.
And Noah has drunk most of it. I've had maybe like 4 or 5 deep sips of this thing.
Wow.
And what do you call it, Noah?
Oh, I called it Michael at the end of the movie.
It's bright
Yeah,
red
'cause it's
and
very red.
kind of
It's
kind of
bright red.
slurry because it's got orange juice with some pulp in it.
It kind of looks like
It looks like fake blood.
Yeah.
no, it looks like what's that tomato drink?
A Bloody Mary.
Bloody
Bloody
Mary.
Mary.
It looks like a
It's
Bloody
too
Mary.
pink for a Bloody
Yeah.
Mary in real life.
Hey, whatever. You know the point I'm trying to make. It looks like a Bloody Mary. Everyone knows it looks like a Bloody Mary.
Whatever.
One of
But that's my takeaway on this movie.
Yeah.
I watched this when I was refreshing myself. I watched it with a friend who isn't as familiar with the series, but she brought up like a point that we ended up talking about. You could have just not had Corey there, and the 90% of the ending wouldn't change.
Yeah.
If Michael got to that house just by any means, nothing about the ending changes from Corey's inclusion. And it ends up just being like I don't hate that they tried to introduce somebody else like being ostracized and like, oh, they treated Michael like he was made of pure evil and maybe that's why he grew up to be pure evil. Okay, sure. But then it turns into Corey waffling back and forth about what he even is doing. Because at first he's this shy whatever, and then you're supposed to believe that suddenly he is evil. But even then, he has this whole, I want this girl so bad. I'm gonna run away. I'm gonna burn the town down to have her. But actually, no. I'm gonna stand her up when she's perfectly willing to run away with me. I'm just gonna stand her up, try to kill everybody she loves, kill myself, so that she'll hate her grandma because
Okay, I want to say I think it doesn't necessarily not make sense. I think what Noah was saying about Laurie's like thesis and the thesis of the movie does not make sense to me even a little bit because it doesn't the movie's text seems to be showing us something about bad home life, but the characters seem completely unwilling to acknowledge that factor like at all.
yeah.
But with Corey, I think I kind of get what he's trying to do at the end. I think that he before he goes to meet up with Allison, he wants to kill Laurie first just to make sure that no one can take her away from him, and then it gets out of hand.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I see that, is that the whole time he's pretty much consistent about having this newfound bloodlust and wanting to satiate it and targeting people that are mean to him or mean to Allison. And then kind of balancing this bloodlust with this adventurous new relationship he has. And then when it's finally like, okay, we're gonna run away, he's like, what is the one thing that could ruin this for me? Laurie. And he's like, I'll go take care of Laurie. And then Laurie's like, oh, I'm faking my own death. Oh dear, just kidding. Bam, bam. And that kind of fucks up his last hurrah before he leaves. And that's why he pretends to kill himself, is because he's realized he already fucked it up. The only way that he can possibly like salvage any of this at this point is to make Allison hate Laurie. But I don't think that was his ultimate deal going into the scene. I think that was a last moment bid for any kind of win.
Yeah,
Sure.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I disagree Noah about your thesis of the films. And your takeaway. I don't know that I've publicly said this on the podcast, but I think I've talked about it in the server a little bit. I know I've talked to Edge about it, but my thought with this trilogy and specifically this movie was that the studio was trying to move away from Michael Myers and was trying to take the Halloween franchise less as Michael focused and more open it up to where they could do more with underneath kind of the Halloween title, sort of like who was the original creator?
John Carpenter.
Yeah, the original idea.
Yeah,
for it to
originally
be
he just
an
wanted
anthology
it-
series and stuff.
Yeah, I think they were trying to like move things into that direction, And I think this movie was going to be kind of the segue between the Michael Myers and like moving it on to something new. Because like all of the other big slasher like franchises, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all of them that have had reboots or kind of like new installments have not done
they
well.
crashed and burned
They've been
largely.
met like, yeah, critically and commercial failure. And so I think people were recognizing that simply trying to keep doing a franchise where it was just using this tentpole of this one singular character was not going to be met with financial success. So I think in this movie, they're largely showing that there is a supernatural evil force that affects things and makes things stronger through like killing and terror and all of these other things. I think Corey was being influenced by this and was getting some of those benefits. And this is kind of shown, for one, in just him killing people and like doing all of that stuff, but also at the end when he does stab himself, that is like an injury of like, okay, you're dead now.
Very much.
You're like 100% dead. But as we see, he's not dead. He gets back up, is still alive when Michael comes in and finishes the job. And then Michael only stays dead this time. Well, stays dead. You could easily like make another movie and be like, Michael's back. But
Slime
I don't know
Michael?
if you could
is-
easily do that.
But like the only reason Michael is quote unquote for sure dead in this movie is because they don't like leave the body. They don't look away or do anything. They're like, nope, we're taking the body, we're throwing it into a wood chipper, we're watching this thing disintegrate. And then, yeah, nothing else can really be done with that body anymore. But I think if they did leave it alone, Michael absolutely would have still been alive and recovered. Because I do think there was a supernatural force. They were just acting in a way that I think Laurie understood that there was something a little bit more. And they were just taking that and kind of taking Michael out of the equation completely. But I think the whole idea was that they were introducing that evil does exist. Evil can kind of like change shape and happen in other people besides just Michael. And they were going to start making other movies that were more anthology, showing like other things. And also just thematically, you see the difference between Michael's kills of just like stabbing or picking people up and choking them, which are all kind of like, I don't want to say old and boring.
It's standard
But-
fare. though.
Classic, we'll say.
And the classic, yeah, in the context of horror movies now, they are seen as like really simple and not like overly flashy. And then we have the new generation of Corey doing much more like flashy and brutal kills, which shows that like by having these new characters and moving away from Michael, they can do these things more that are more likely to capture modern
And
audiences.
that blowtorch kill goes hard.
Blowtorch kills
I
real
love
cool.
that. Could go hard.
But yeah, I think just like the style and like a lot of the decisions they were making and a lot of the things they were showing throughout this movie specifically in the trilogy shows that I think that's the direction they were going. And I really enjoy that as a concept. And so I think that's partially, and I, as we all know, did not really get into horror movies until we started this podcast. So I'm not super attached to like singular characters like Michael Myers or Jason or Freddy. I'm kind of like, yeah, throw them away if that works. That's cool. Introduce something new.
Well, so here's because I generally agree with what you're saying is the thing. Because I want supernatural Michael, like
Yeah.
Cult of the Thorn Michael Myers, which doesn't mean anything to you, but I think it might mean something to Edge. Hopefully, maybe. That was a whole angle they went where he was a legitimate like spirit inhabited body killing things.
Yeah.
And I like supernatural Michael. My issue with this movie is that it's the culmination of the like legacy trilogy,
yeah.
and it fumbled the legacy trilogy.
Mm.
That's my issue, because like I don't think it like the writing is abysmal. The dialogue in this movie is really god awful, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to hold that against core like concept art.
Sure.
Yeah,
of
I mean,
these
also
things.
it's just a
But-
slasher. I'm not expecting like
Oh, for sure.
super in depth, like
Well,
crazy good dialogue.
I
or
don't want
anything.
crazy in depth, super good dialogue, but they promised me crazy in depth, super good dialogue by saying we're tackling big concepts, and I don't even need it to be crazy in depth, super good. I just need it to be like good.
Mm.
But then not only do they have like a lot of really weird amateur-y lines, and it's not like something I enjoy that much, but
Yeah.
also the character arcs, because I don't care if Michael dies. I'm okay with Michael dying.
Sure.
That doesn't even bug me. What really bugs me is the fact that their own movie's arc that was clearly laid out from the first two movies, as shaky as it was set aside, and an entirely new movie was brought in that had almost nothing to do with those movies.
It feels very Rise of Skywalker.
It feels
Very
very
much.
Rise of
Very much.
Skywalker. Yeah, that's my core issue with this movie. Like my other
We don't even it's
things
stuff
aside.
stuff from the first two movies that doesn't get brought back at all, that was like huge focuses in the first two
Yeah.
movies, like the
Yeah.
mob mentality, mob justice thing.
Yeah.
And the existence of Allison's last boyfriend, who was the only death I cared about in the first two
Yeah.
movies. Like, we just are not going to acknowledge that man exists.
he's just gone.
Even a
Mhm.
little bit.
Like they don't
it's
even
kind of a
mention
super
like her
bummer.
dad that much either.
She
Like,
says,
they're-
when my parents died.
Yeah, there's a
eh.
brief thing where Laurie like gives her the 2 wedding rings on a chain, and it's all
Yeah, then they linger on
Which-
the mom a bit more.
I have a double-edged sword in this one, because on one hand, yeah, but on the other hand, if I'm gonna say that dead kid's mom needs to kind of get over it, it's been 3 or 4 years,
Yeah.
then
yeah.
it is not unreasonable to me that Allison would have moved on in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
you
it
know.
just
But if this is the first time she's trying to date since, I think his name is Cameron,
Yeah.
I want to say.
Yeah.
If this is the first time she's trying to date, I feel like it should come up even a little bit.
that's the problem. It isn't.
yeah, 'cause of
because
Doug
she has
Mulaney,
the
the
ex Doug.
Oh,
Doug
yeah,
Mulaney.
she
Yeah.
dated
You don't fuck
Doug.
with
Nobody fucks with the
Doug
Mulaney's.
Mulaney.
Many years passed. I am okay with the fact that many years passed and a lot
Yeah.
of off-screen character development
Yeah.
has happened.
Sure.
But
But that's another thing,
I-
is the like 4-year time skip where Michael hasn't been found at all and a lot of character development has happened. I get it. It's fine. I just think that it does, like, there are some things that were major tie-in plot points that were supposed to be like big beliefs that the characters held, like the mob mentality thing that Allison's mom died because of, right? And had like these big feelings about, and then those are just
Mhm. Yeah.
abandoned.
And that's kind
Mhm.
of what sits at the
I-
core of my problem with this movie, is that I feel like Halloween Kills is a better, like I can talk all about like dialogue and concept and writing problems all I want, but ultimately my big problem with the movie is that I feel like Halloween Kills is, for all of its flaws, I think it's a decent follow-up to 2018, whereas I feel like this does a very poor job of being a follow-up to Kills. Because there's like Nina was just saying, there's so much going on in Kills that I feel like should be getting addressed in this movie that just fucking doesn't. We spend the whole movie following Michael and establishing that like he actually hasn't been going after Laurie this whole time. He's been going back to the old house that he grew up in. And oh my god, what's gonna happen when he gets there? And then at the end of the movie he gets there and people are getting killed all over the place and blah blah blah. And then this movie starts and it's kind of like, okay, well, what's Michael doing now? And it's like, well, fucking nothing for the last 4 years. And by the way, the house is gone, and that's a footnote in the movie. Like, I want
Yeah,
the
like-
house getting addressed. I want this movie doing the things that got set up in the previous movie, which I feel like isn't a ton to ask from a sequel. And that's the problem. Otherwise, everything that this movie does could be perfectly fine.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's just so much buildup there and so many questions that they feel like they were supposed to answer, because it builds up this, oh, it's not about Laurie, because there's the whole
Yeah.
first movie is like, oh, maybe it's about Laurie, maybe it's about Laurie. No, it's not about Laurie. It's not.
And then we come back into this one, and it's like, well,
What is it
JK,
about?
It's about Laurie, actually. But, like,
But is it?
no? But, like...
Because Michael doesn't go after Laurie. He goes after the
That's
mask
true,
again.
he follows the mask. He's just
Yeah.
accidentally hitting Laurie again.
And
Yeah.
Laurie just always happens to be there, and we don't get any sort of anything, even with the exploration of, oh yeah, this is pure evil, maybe this is just some sort of supernatural force. We still don't get any answer of like what's going on there. Maybe there's the hint of, okay, it's connected to the mask, and that can be like a fun tie into everything, Season of the Witch. It's something to do with the mask. And now the mask is just sitting on Laurie's table.
We'll see where that goes next.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of ways to get the Halloween series away from Michael, it's not awful. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish the front end of the
One more
movie
movie.
would have gone different
Yeah.
to address the
it-
things. That
One
I
more movie
wanted to
between
do.
kills and this, and I would have no problems.
I probably would have liked that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
More breathing room.
the existence of like more things getting wrapped up and addressed could have been cool, but also then I feel like it would have overstayed its welcome.
Oh,
yeah.
I saw someone on Tumblr saying they would have liked it if Corey had been introduced a little earlier.
In kills even.
Nice.
I don't
If
need
they
him
had
in-
just
You
done
can-
18.
the whole like kid falls off the balcony like scene and some of that to set him up in kills, and
Yeah.
I don't
Be
know.
present as a
Just not having
character.
him be this out of nowhere, okay, now he
We're
exists.
2 movies into a trilogy and we're introducing the main character of the final installment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's
It's
an
just a little
which
bit
is,
too
I
much of a
think,
departure.
choice. Yeah, because
And it could have worked.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that's really frustrating. I think that Corey's storyline could have worked if they'd reeled it in a little bit, like I was talking about earlier with self-insert fanfiction.
It just feels a
'Cause
little indulgent,
I'm
doesn't
gonna
it?
be
Yeah.
well, yeah, exactly. I'm gonna be fully honest here. Coming out of the movie the first time, I had really enjoyed it, and it's partially because when I realized where they were going with it, I was like, oh, this is pretty neat. That like this is what we're doing. Like Emma said, like we're setting up for maybe other things in the future or whatever. But some of it is just so egregiously indulgent and cheesy, and these movies happen this whole time. Especially kills and ends are both super cheesy.
Absolutely.
But I think what's frustrating is the comparing the accidental killing of this child to Michael's murder spree and like having that mind meld thing going on where we're getting these classic murder scenes from like movies. They're using nostalgia on us and then holding that up to a scene that we saw like 40 minutes ago. And we're supposed to like believe that that's why Michael is not going to kill this guy.
yeah,
I think there's a world in which another pass at this script or treating the character of Corey a little more seriously could have made this actually just the same storyline, just stronger if they had just edited
Yeah.
some stuff
and
so that it wasn't so indulgent. I really do think this could have worked.
I believe this may be a too many cooks situation because there's like 4 or 5 people credited with writing this movie, and I feel like once you get beyond 2, maybe 3 people writing a project, you start to lose things.
yeah.
I would love to know just like
There-
what ideas they passed by before landing on this. I want to know what the process of arriving at this movie was. Because like even
Yeah.
just actually
I was
for the
talking-
record, in discussing this, I'm finding myself disliking it less by the end of this. I may update my rating to like a 5 from a 4.
Yeah, Team 5.
I'm sitting at a
But,
solid 4,
like,
and it's not in a mean way. I just don't think it's a very good movie.
I want to know how we got to this.
I was talking to Noah about it. There are some movies that I've watched recently, this one included, some TV shows where I'm like, you guys, you wrote, this is something that got made. You wrote this, you filmed this, you like the actors acted this out.
Mhm.
It went through so many different stages and it got made.
Yeah.
And it's not even, again, not in a mean way. It's just kind of interesting to think about that. Because there are some things that, like, it's not even that they feel bad, it's that they feel, like, weirdly shallow. And it's like, did the people making this actually think that they were making something really good at the time that they were doing it? I feel this way about the last season of the Sherlock TV show. It's like, you guys have been playing and writing these characters for so long, and every single level of this feels, like, weird and half-assed. Like, do you think that Jamie Lee Curtis going through this movie, like, how do you think, like, acting these scenes out, what must have that been like, you know, reading that script, like, what's the thought process there? She's read way worse. I know.
Oh,
for sure.
absolutely.
I know.
Oh, I've seen Prom Night. It, you know, This is better than
I
Prom
still
Night.
haven't seen.
But, like-
It's fun. It's a very fun.
it's a dumb
movie. It's fun.
slasher, right? Because yeah, that's my kind of movie.
But
Historically,
that's just something I think about sometimes.
Yeah.
I thought about it with this movie as well, and for the actor who played Corey as well. Is like, did he think he was playing like some big character that the fandom was going to really love? How did he feel about reading this script and the mind meld scene and all of this? Like, I don't know. I think about it.
I feel like
That's all.
part of what's intended with the mind meld scene may be that like that was a lot of the Michael, the shape it may be called, like kind of transferring into him. And that's why he's
I've
like
read it that way as well.
getting worse
think
after
it's a
that
good
through the
read.
rest of it. So it's like not necessarily comparing his accidental killing of that kid with Mike's murder sprees, but rather like Mike infusing his murder sprees into Corey.
It's that supernatural versus realistic
Exactly.
again, because Corey definitely just has head trauma
Yeah.
from falling off the fucking bridge.
There's this weird battle of nurture versus nature that they keep waffling on what they want to do with it. It's like, is Corey this messed up because he made a mistake and now this entire town of people keeps just railing on him for it, and he, for some reason, cannot leave. He can't move somewhere else. Neither can any of the grieving people. Because even the parents of the kid that died, they got a divorce, but both of them stayed in this tiny Illinois town.
Yeah.
Yeah, that did baffle me a bit, especially like the mom.
you're-
In separate places.
If you're born and raised in a place,
Yeah.
though, you tend to always want to stay in that
Yeah.
place.
Like a fluorescent light victim, I'm not surprised didn't move
Sure.
because
Yeah, her
if she
sister
moved
is
in with
there.
her sister's not going to move
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah.
But specifically with Corey,
Yeah.
I mean, he probably doesn't. He was babysitting and a student. He doesn't have the means to move. He doesn't have support anywhere else. And that sort of thing of, hey, I killed a kid, follows you and would keep you from getting jobs elsewhere.
Yeah.
The parents of the kid, clearly people of means.
Mm,
That's where I start to be like, I cannot
yeah.
imagine as an adult with money living in the town where my son died. My son lived, had friends, had school, and
Yeah.
died. And now I have to drive through the town and see all these locations. I would be
they-
out of there faster than you could say his
They moved
name.
out of the house even, and nobody
Yeah.
else moved
Yeah, they
in
just
because of that
abandoned it.
tragedy. So now they've both separately moved out into different parts of this town, and they just didn't leave, and they keep hanging around the same places that this dude frequents because they both have seen him around town.
Well, he doesn't frequent that place. He's very clear about how he doesn't frequent places like that. He avoids
The-
going
the
out in
bar
public because
specifically
people
no.
are always dicks to him, etc.
Yeah. Like the dad mentions like seeing him out and about sometimes. It's kind of just like an expansion on like the previous movies being like, oh, everybody in Haddonfield either just is horribly traumatized by this or they don't take it seriously. But then they try to go into the, well, is everybody taking this so seriously and being horrible about it? Is that what shaped Corey? No, because he's just evil now. Because
Oh yeah,
of
because
reasons.
he bent down at a 90-degree angle and looked into my car window.
Yeah, he bent down at a 90-degree angle, looked directly in my car window, and then
love
I
that
had to
shot,
just
though.
keep driving.
I also,
it's so
frankly,
funny.
would assume anyone who did that to me did not have good
Right.
intentions.
Like on both
Okay.
sides
I
of
love that
things.
Okay, I want to make a final statement on my thoughts on this movie, and then I'll leave y'all to do final thoughts before we get to the notes section. I want to say I don't hate that I've watched this movie multiple times. I don't hate watching it. This one sits to me as a so bad it's good type movie where I think I would watch the full trilogy and then before, like with friends, and before putting the third one in, I'd be like, okay, whatever you think is going to happen in the third movie of this trilogy that we've been watching, you are wrong. And then I would put it in and we'd have a great time.
You know what? Actually, no. I have come to a realization of why this movie doesn't sit as well as a part of the trilogy. And it is all Kill's fault for being a movie that happens within 2 seconds of the other movie. I think actually that's it.
That is something.
That's the
that is a big
problem.
thing.
That's why it
make
needs more room
very
to breathe.
disjointed.
Because Kills and 18, I feel like I say that there's a cut of the movies pushed together a lot on this show. I think I've said it about a lot of movies now, but there is really a cut of kills in 2018 that's just one big Michael Myers is the coolest guy in town.
Just a big 3-hour-long murder fest.
And I'm here for it.
I'd watch
But
it.
I think that's my issue maybe most of all with Ends, is we get a time skip, and it's really jarring after 2 movies that happen at the same time.
Yeah, we get 2 times.
That actually might be a big thing, because that just hit me like a fucking truck.
Yeah, it's just kind of resetting the momentum. That's difficult to do for sure.
Yeah, like it's something that it could be done, but it wasn't given the room to breathe. Not only for its own flaws, but the flaws of like kills being such a seamless second half of the same night type of thing, that it's then left to pick up a bunch of pieces that it not only is not willing to do, but just cannot do because they have too much to cover for what they want to accomplish. They don't have time to address anything that happened in the previous 2 movies. I will fully acknowledge that I have some bias against this movie that makes me hate it a bit more than like I'm not an expert on whether a movie is actually good or not. I just decide whether I like it. And I like Michael Myers.
Why are you here then?
And because I like Michael Myers. I thought we established
Because you
this.
invited me.
Yeah, you invited me. You sent me a text that says, "Hey, do you want to be on the Halloween End episode?" And I sent you a picture of a funny little clown
true.
and said, "Oh yeah." Like
I like Michael Myers a normal amount, and I'm excited to talk about him in a normal way.
normal and rational manner. So like I will fully like admit like yeah, maybe some of my like initial like disappointment and lasting disappointment reoccurring is because I came into this going, man, they did Michael Myers specifically really well in 2018 and in Kills. And they don't follow up on any of that because we're then given, here is 40 minutes of the movie without him. And then when you get to him, he's in the sewer and everyone just keeps bodying him. He just gets beat up a lot in that sewer. And we're told that he is still killing and that he is still dragging people in there and killing them. Allegedly, according to
Well,
some
he's
homeless
gotta
man who
live
also
somehow.
claims to be Michael Myers.
Whatever the deal with
New
that guy
headcanon,
was.
Weird homeless man is actually Michael
Oh
Myers.
yeah, that was the
Yeah, they
real
just
Michael
swapped.
Myers.
guy in the sewer is just some hobo.
He stole the mask.
Some
Mike
dude,
couldn't
that's
get
why
it
the
back.
dude wants the mask back. God, but then we just don't get that follow-up that they built up so well in like the first 2 movies of how cool they made Michael and how they decided to play that character. Because yeah, he's in his 60s, he's going to get bodied in a sewer, but then suddenly he's out of the sewer and he's not getting bodied. So being old isn't the problem actually. Being old and having like a severely burned face, being half blind, and having half of a hand missing, none of that is a problem. It is literally just because he was in the sewer.
I think it's because he started like killing rapidly again, and like that fear was driving again, and so
And then that turns
he got-
into, is
he
he
got-
supernatural?
yeah, because
Got
in my
juiced up.
head I believe there's a supernatural force at play. So I think when he started doing that again, supernatural force started strengthening him again.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no other way he would have survived for 4 years in that sewer
It's
without
definitely how the
something
movie
keeping him up,
reads.
right?
Yeah, which I fully, like, I'm down for that reading, sure. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
One of the things, I will say though, like, one of the things I loved about, like, the original Halloween was that he didn't have that much going on supernaturally, and Laurie didn't have that much going on in, like, survival thing, like, knowledge, other than just, someone is trying to kill me and I am going to survive as best I can with what I have around me. A clothes hanger, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
But then with 2018, it's like, okay, so obviously there's something going on. But then again, it felt like they didn't want to lean heavily one way or the other, but then they had to, and then they didn't know what to do with it, and then they had too much to wrap up that they set up in the first 2 movies that they just didn't want to do.
Yeah, I don't know, because like I understand enjoying the original one because there wasn't that supernatural element really present, except for him like getting shot and falling down and then kind of disappearing.
Yeah, classic like, horror antagonist.
Yeah, classic horror disappear move. But then in like the original sequels and stuff, there's obviously that supernatural element getting played up. And then they're like for this new trilogy, they're like, okay, all of those other sequels, we're ignoring that. And I think that was mostly just because it brought up too much, and it was too much really ridiculous stuff that they didn't want to deal with, but they
Yeah.
still wanted some sort of supernatural element.
Yeah, there were 4 timelines for Halloween.
Yeah, that's too many.
We could do 3, maybe.
They had to pick a point.
Yeah. But I don't know. You all know. I liked the movie.
Yeah.
I think I like Noah's take of the first 2018 Halloween movie is good. I clearly think this movie is good. And I think Halloween
Alright, who
Kills
likes
could have done a
Kills?
lot
Who
better
likes Kills?
in
One of us has
connecting
to.
them. But all of these were filmed around-ish the same time because they all came out within a year of each other.
Huh?
18,
No.
Kills
Weren't
came out in
they?
like
21,
2021.
and 22.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a
a
3-year
couple-
gap.
There was a couple year
then-
gap because of reasons.
Not COVID.
Yeah, if any
Different
two of them
reasons.
are
Other
close to one another,
reasons.
it's Kills and Ends, which is crazy to me because they're like the furthest off from one another tone-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the gap
Very
between 18 and Kills, it was actually a really clean melding of evenings.
Yeah.
I would like to, if you're done, Emma, I would like to pitch something to all of you as a group.
I have 2
You
quick
go ahead. I will
thoughts.
still have this idea when you are done with those
One of
thoughts. I
them-
want to give you time.
Okay, one of them's maybe not an entirely quick thought. One quick thought is, Edge, you said you wanted to let everybody know of your preference for Michael Myers. You love Michael Myers, so that's automatically going to make you a bit biased against this movie. I have had drinks and hung out with somebody in this movie, and it's kind of one of those things where you know an actor from their very first project, sort of, and then seeing them in like a bigger project, you're like, oh, hell yeah. The guy who played the cop Doug.
Oh.
Hey, Emma's
was
friend who played
in-
the cop Doug, I'm sorry. I hated your character, and I think it was supposed
I
to be
liked
like that.
Doug.
Come on,
but
But
man.
man, ACAB is exclusively Doug for me when I was watching
I
this
like
movie.
ACAB,
I like the
absolutely.
concept of Doug.
Hey-dab.
Come on, you don't
Yeah.
fuck with Doug
ACAB.
Mulaney.
Pulling Allison
ACAB
over
for sure.
so that he could say, "Hey, babe, how you doing? Oh, your tailpipe's falling off. You want a date again?" That, oh God, sends fucking makes my hair stand
Well
on
played
end.
character.
Good job, guy who
Yeah,
played
good
Doug.
job.
I don't know your name, so I'm just gonna call you Emma's friend. But
I don't think we're not friends in the sense that they're
Emma's
ever going to
acquaintance.
listen to this. And
many people aren't.
but
It's
like yeah, but he was in a web series that Rooster Teeth produced way back in the day. And way back then I was very involved in
Which
Rooster
one
Teeth.
was it?
Day 9? No, not Day 9. Hold up. I can just look it up. It was a series where if you fall asleep, you die, and it's following people like a week into this event where people are keeping themselves awake using various drugs and things and trying to find a cure. It's called Day 5.
I'm desperate to try and decide
I
whether I was
remember
going
it
to say,
being
"Oh, that
good.
was Red versus Blue," or whether I was going to say
No.
that's a Nightmare on Elm Street.
No, they had a short run of producing actual like live action short series.
Mhm.
And this was, I think, the first one. But I went to a live screening of I think the finale in Austin, and it was at this really small bar, and some of the cast were there, some Rooster Teeth talent people were there, and it just wound up that me and him ended at a table together, and we were drinking together for like an hour and talking. But he was a nice dude and cool dude, and so when I saw him in this movie, I was like, oh, hey, and I was happy for him. But that's my bias. But also, I think you all have referred to Corry as a self-insert character, and I think he's very clearly just a character that is referencing how a lot of like 20-year-old guys these days are stuck at home, don't have many work prospects, are depressed, have a lot of pressure kind of on them to be better, but because of their circumstances, they can't be better. I think he's very clearly a character emulating like that social situation and falling into like all of the events that happen in this movie and then progressing from there. I don't really see him as a self-insert. And that was my last point that I wanted to make.
When I say self-insert, that's actually pretty much literally exactly what I mean. Is this is a character that reflects a lot of like insecurities, being in a situation where they magically get whisked away from those insecurities and they get to live out a fantasy. That's because when people write self-inserts, that's often the goal, is I write the character to have the same problems that I have, but then someone, usually a character that I'm really, really fond of, tells me that I'm special and I don't need to be dealing with those problems anymore and whisks me away and we live this great life. So that's actually pretty much exactly what I mean when I say self-insert.
I mean it in the funny creepypasta way of going, actually, I think if I met them, they wouldn't kill me. And instead
that
we'd be
too.
friends, and they'd teach me how to murder, and we could be best buddies.
ride
And
around on a
also, I'm dating the
motorcycle.
granddaughter of another major character
That
in this
too.
franchise.
100%. But
Corey
that's
and Michael in the basement braiding the hair on his nasty ass matted
but that's a part of it too, is like
Yeah.
is
Just
like
the
getting
funny, like,
getting to be the special and cool one.
Yeah.
Corey kicking his feet while Michael just stands there in the corner glaring at him.
How many people have you murdered this weekend?
Oh my God, me too!
Michael
twirling my
breathing
hair when I said that.
manually.
God, which again,
I love Michael's manual breathing.
I'd read that fanfic. I'd write that fanfic. I've been there. But also, I wouldn't film it and put it as an actual movie and go, yes, this is the way to wrap up an entire, like, beloved series and trilogy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So notes?
Yeah, it's note time. It's
Well, Jeff, did
Jeff,
you have
you-
a question that
oh.
you wanted to pose?
Oh, right. So my pitch for what my story of this movie would be, instead of what we get here, I think what the story that I want to see told is just chronologically earlier than this one. It's what's Mike doing when the house gets torn down? You know, Halloween Kills is all, like I said earlier, Halloween Kills is all about Mike getting back to the house. I want to see what the circumstances of the house's destruction were. Was Mike there? Was he just like hiding in a bush, watching and breathing heavily? What did he do after that? What does early phase homeless Mike look like? Is the homelessness what drives him to hibernate in the sewer instead of continuing to rampage? Like, I want to see what that event looks like, because I feel like if you make the story more that, like, you know, say this picks up immediately after Halloween Kills, evil dies tonight, mob torches the old Myers house, blah blah whatever, I don't know. I feel like for the end of Michael as a character to be that without the house there, he like maybe no longer has a lot of his driving force that makes him do what he does, you know? Like he kind of loses a lot of the things that make him who he is, that he identifies himself by. And without that kind of anchor point for his identity, what's he gonna do? So then homeless Mike is probably just kind of lost, listless. I'm aware this is a bad idea, Noah. I can see that look on your face.
No, I was
that
going to
was
ask
a
if you
Jeff
watched
has a
Rob
stupid
Zombie's
idea
Halloween
face.
2.
Maybe I just need to watch Rob Zombie's
Rob
Halloween
Zombie's
movies.
Halloween
Oh,
2 does have
no.
homeless roaming Michael. He eats raw dog.
Oh, that's
among other
canonical.
things.
Yeah, that's been
Loomis
from the
always knew he
start.
had it in him,
Right.
you know?
But he does kill people without the mask on. There's like a whole moment about it.
Interesting.
Ugh.
And it's like,
See,
yeah, it's kind of
yeah,
cool.
it's the I want to see what's going on when Michael kind of starts losing parts of himself. And I feel like if we were to be moving the series away from him, you've got to establish why Mike is going away first. And that's my biggest problem with this movie, is it doesn't spend enough time on the reason that we're losing Mike here. He's just already gone when the movie picks up, and I don't like that,
Yeah.
because he was at full power at the end of Halloween Kills, you know? It's anticlimactic.
I agree.
I think I would rewrite Halloween Kills
Sure.
because like
Yeah,
So-
make that
Oh,
one
yeah.
the downfall, and then this one can be the rise of a new character. We didn't need
Yeah.
Kills to be what it was.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because you could have had the house on
Yeah.
fire, maybe burn up a bit more to really like damage Michael, and then firefighters get him out. He kills the firefighters, disappears into the wilderness, and then we get a bit of a timeline where we're seeing him like struggle out in the wilds a little bit, and then eventually he like comes back to town, but is like weaker, so he
He's
has to
lost
be
his
a bit
moxie.
more like stealthy a little bit. He's lost his moxie. He kills some people. We get some good kills as he's going through the town. Halloween kills, and then he's defeated again, and then we find him in the next movie, like not 4 years later,
Yeah.
but rather like a year later, maybe, in the sewer, just kind of totally like
at that
worn down
point, Sewer
and
Mike
beat out.
makes sense. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
the problem with this movie is largely just its interplay with the previous one. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
extent of my full thoughts though at this point. My
I feel
idea
that.
for how
I
this could
do.
be
I
improved.
remembered one other thing that I wanted to complain about. One of my only only complaints. One of my complaints about this movie. The Scarecrow mask is dumb as shit.
Absolutely,
It's so
it's
stupid.
dumb
It's
as hell.
too small.
It
Like-
feels,
It's so doofy.
it feels almost like it's doing it on purpose, right? Because with as like unceremoniously
Right.
as
Yeah.
Michael kills Corey, it feels like it's trying to show like the problem with Corey as a killer is that he's too derivative. Basically, he doesn't know how to have an original idea.
Yeah.
When it's like you're the ones who did that to him,
Yeah, you
writers.
put
I
him
don't.
like
You're not
that.
making
Yeah.
a good point here.
Free Corey, he didn't do shit.
Some
but
artists,
I'm like, I'm
artists
like-
on Tumblr have made me like the mask more, but I don't think they're. It reads to me like they're trying to pull off what Scream did, which was to take a mass market mask and make it iconic. But the Scarecrow mask is not the Ghostface mask. You can't do
No.
that.
and I mean, with the original Halloween, it's very known that they made the mask with just a William Shatner
Yeah.
mask.
Mhm.
And I'm like, you could have just had a slightly beat up, creepy Scarecrow
Yeah.
mask where girlfriend is like, oh, I've just had this. Like a friend of mine had this as a mask from like a previous Halloween, and it's just been in my
Stitches
trunk.
on a burlap sack.
And
That's all you need.
There are plenty, like Halloween, you can have creepy masks, and there are plenty of IPs with creepy
Totally.
scarecrows. You could have had like some throwaway, like fake scarecrow movie that this is
He
like
could wear a
referencing,
whole
and
ass
it's just a slightly
jack-o'-lantern
creepy
on his
mask.
head, and it would be better.
Yeah,
Actually,
and it would have been
I was about to say a
fine.
season of the Witch Mask would go really hard
Exactly.
here.
Absolutely.
That would have
Yeah.
been cool. But Noah's notes?
Yeah, we gotta do notes.
We also got Edge's notes. So my notes are going to be
Yo.
truncated because we got some Edge notes
Edge
here.
notes.
And
Yes.
they're
Mm.
angry.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I have both notes here, and I am going to alternate.
Edge, did you add a photo at the end of your notes?
I did because I was
They did.
angry about. Okay, can I address the photo
Swag.
real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
There's a moment where Lori looks over at a family photo of her daughter, and her granddaughter. What the fuck is happening? Why is the mom in those weird pigtails? Why do they all look like they're in
It's
the
a
80s?
weird
Wait,
and
no, hold
also,
on. No,
like-
no. This is the original.
Oh, those are the
babysitters,
original.
isn't it?
Okay,
Yeah.
but she's
No, these are
talking
her
about
friends.
her family. At
Oh
that
yeah,
point.
no,
Yes.
it's not an
It's
opportune
really
glance over.
weird.
Yeah, it's the characters from the original
it's-
movie, but like, yeah, it's odd.
All right.
There is a picture of the three of them that's also very weird, as well.
Yeah. Okay, I'm glad that got cleared up because I'm like, this does not look like any of them. But it didn't click for me that it was like from the girls from the original movie because again, she's talking about her daughter and looking at that photo. It's like,
Well, and that's
What- what
just
are you-
it
what are you
kind of
doing?
connects with something else that I find just a little bit annoying about this movie, which is it makes too many references to the original. This is a problem that I have with Halloween Kills as well. What with the whole
Yeah.
here's what everyone in Haddonfield was doing on Halloween night in 1978 talk that it has.
and that's why I should kill Michael Myers
Tonight,
Yeah. Tonight, evil
dies
dying
tonight. I think it would have been
tonight.
absolutely
Tonight.
hilarious.
Evil dies tonight,
at
Queen.
the end of this movie when there's the procession to the junkyard. I think it would have been really funny if when they put Michael in the shredder, somebody started to try and start the Evil Dies Tonight chant, but then they just got like tackled.
Then they also got put in the shredder.
They take Michael back out, put that guy in, and then put Michael
Lori's ending monologue. We thought that we killed evil that night. We thought that it had died
that night.
tonight.
Tonight.
But evil can't. It only changes shape.
Uh, I'm very
All
excited
right,
for these
sorry.
notes.
Nina
What's your-
is poking me. We need to read
We
notes.
need to read those
Yeah.
notes.
It's Edge, do your notes like start at some point? Because is it the summary mixed in with the notes?
The summary, the last half of the summary has like some notes mixed in, but then after the summary, there's just notes. I got tired of going back and forth. I
Got
apologize.
it. Where do I start? Hold on.
I think you already.
Okay. Here we go. I see. I'll probably hop back into the summary too. Okay, sorry.
Mm.
We'll start with Noah's notes. Noah says, sorry, I will get there. Noah says his villain arc started when the dumbass kid called him ugly.
Really,
So
yeah.
true.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah,
so
same.
The
true.
kid had it coming,
Yeah,
honestly.
his little rant about how Corey's not a cute babysitter,
Yeah.
so he doesn't need to listen to him. Like,
Yeah, that's weird.
I want the babysitter from the babysitter
mean,
movies.
you're not a hot girl. I don't need to listen to you, Uggo.
Noah says,
And Corey almost drank a beer about
He
that.
did.
Noah says, oh no, I gotta do Edges because it's like in the timeline here.
Ooh.
Noah says, "What's up with?" Edge says, "What's up with this flapper / railroad costume combo?" Yeah, what's up
They're
with
not
the
doing a
Paris
couple's costume.
costumes?
Yeah.
I'm not.
They're both good costumes.
Noah says-
It's just they don't match.
Now Edge says, "I would also steal chocolate milk from this house. They can buy more." They also said he could, right?
Yeah.
Like they told him to eat the food. Edge says, "How the fuck did that kid flip?" We're getting into CinemaSins territory on purpose. How the fuck
God.
did that kid flip over the railing that's as tall as he is? Like if he broke through, that's one thing, but the railing is intact, implying that the door just hit and launched him over.
Corey kicked
At
that
a
thing
diagonal
really hard.
angle. Like, hit him hard enough to go not straight back, but slightly to the side, over the railing, then suddenly farther over, and then down.
See, now,
He launched him like 8 feet in the air.
this makes me wonder if it's supposed to be telegraphing the idea that, like, actually when the door hit the kid, it just knocked him down, and then Corey picked him up and threw him. Once again, he
He
would
was
have had
angry.
it coming.
Noah's Edge says, sorry. Also, why the fuck does this house have like 5 stories? We see in the exterior shot, it only has 3 tops.
Yeah,
Honestly,
there's a lot of stairs.
There's actually no way that attic can exist in the way it does from our exterior shots, and I really love that.
I love that. I love a
It's-
nonsensical house. Now you're thinking with portals.
God.
When we got our outside view, because Corey's like, I'm gonna sleep on the bloodstain because I'm just so dark and fucked up. This is just a glimpse into my crazy mind.
This is a normal
the
bed to
outside
me.
shot. I'm like, oh damn, that house doesn't work with how we know the inside looks.
God.
Noah says, and just like I predicted, 40 years later, Michael escaped. Bitch, you did not. 40 years later, you got fucking lucky. Yeah, she was saying for 40 years that he was gonna escape.
Yeah.
And
Gonna
her predictions were failing every year until she finally got right. 40
She was
years
wrong
later.
until she
That's
wasn't,
not-
and then she was right.
Lori, that's not a prediction necessarily. I love you though. Edge says, shout out to Lori for taping everything on her wall, but then also using push pins on some of them, but like half-assed using push pins. They're barely pushed in.
Like half
Wow.
of them are like just sideways, barely poked into the wall, and then the thing is still taped. Everything is taped, and then they're like, "Are we gonna use push pin?" No.
Edge says, how many years has it been? Can you get through nursing school that fast? Yeah, was Allison in nursing school?
She was in
There's
high school.
programs you can go through.
Yeah, but
if
she was
she's-
in high school before.
Right,
like,
but if she's just an
barely graduated.
Aid, it's actually a lot easier to get through that than you
Yeah.
would think.
Fair.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
don't
know anything
actually
about
need
that.
as much medical education as you would hope.
Just like becoming a cop.
On that note, that's where a lot of people's my friend is a nurse and she says the vaccine will actually put a tracker in your blood and kill
There
you.
it
That's where
is.
those type of opinions come from, is stupid people
No.
who
Noah's-
didn't actually get education.
Noah says,
Sorry.
Noah says, imagine being from outside Haddonfield and like reading Lori's manifesto book about how Michael Myers, small town spree killer turned serial killer from bumfuck Illinois, is the personification of
Yeah,
evil.
I was kind of wondering the whole time, like, what manner of book is this actually?
It's a book for the people in Haddonfield, but everyone there hates her. So actually, no one would get the book. But I love how, and this is actually another great like personification moment for Laurie. I don't think that's the word I'm looking for.
Characterization?
But where we get to a characterization
Yeah, where
moment
she's writing her
where
big-ass
we get to
diss
see
track on Mike.
that even though it has been made clear from like explicitly clear in the movie and from everyone around her that actually, Laurie, Michael doesn't care about you. She's still like, Michael
My
cares
nemesis.
about me so much.
Noah says, cute, isn't she? And then in action asterisk, Corey's boner obliterates the entire room. From that fucking hospital scene where the doctor's like, cute, ain't she? And then Corey just knocks over every tray.
And then Corey looks into the camera and says, I did that because I think sexism is not okay, and I want everyone to know sexism is wrong. But I will still date her.
This is before they invented just crossing your arms and shaking your head to indicate disapproval, you know.
Me at the Mayhem concert.
God.
Noah says, magic diagnosis guy can diagnose from miles away based on someone telling him what was up. R.E., yeah, my engine is rattling. Oh, I know exactly what's wrong with
Counter-
it.
Must be your tailpipe. You gotta tighten two
Counter.
screws.
Have you ever hung out with car guys? As in, like,
They
mechanics?
can
Okay.
do that, and it's crazy.
Sometimes you
No,
describe a
look,
situation in really general terms, and they're like, I know exactly what this is.
Okay, listen, my dad is a car guy.
He's not a mechanic, though. He's not a working mechanic.
Not a working mechanic. My best friend is a working, like my best friend in Seattle before I moved here. One of them, one of many, but is a working mechanic. I do not think I have ever described something to him and had like in the term of my engine is rattling, no further information, and had him be, he would ask follow-up questions, both my dad and my friend would, that are like, oh, is it kind of like when you say a rattling, can you like imitate it for me? Like, is it in like your engine, or is it closer to the back of the car? Yeah. Does it happen when you're going up a hill? Like, it's never, my engine is rattling. Oh, I know exactly what that is.
That's a good
That's the
point.
best part. She didn't even ever say engine. She just went, my car.
Oh, I'm so
is
sorry. Yeah,
rattling.
she said my car is making a rattling noise. I think that's kind of on the subject of just it's very Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, yeah, a little bit.
It's very just the dialogue needs to happen for the scene to move forward, and we are not wasting any time. Fuck you.
Evil dies tonight.
Noah says,
Evil dies tonight.
Evil dies tonight. Noah says, weeb ass man in the supermarket flirting with Laurie. Okay, I want to stress, we did call Edge during this movie, but we were not watching the same things at the same time. Edge says, Frank is a fucking weeb.
Also, I just love how in that scene, all he's buying is
God.
this comedic quantity of meat.
Right.
I love him so much.
Oh, it's a lot of meat.
Frank, I'm so glad. Frank and Sydney from Scream are two characters that I'm glad just kind of got to sit out of most of their movies recently.
Like, they went
Like,
through enough.
You deserve
they can just
a break.
Just
be
hang out.
there.
Edge says, she's your neighbor. Okay, but Laurie lived in the middle of fucking nowhere.
I was wondering about that, and I was wondering if it meant that she was her neighbor when Laurie moved into town. But
No.
It all happened in the same 2 nights, and we saw her get stabbed in the neck. Was that Karen's neighbor?
No, that
No,
was
no. That
Mike
was
got
Laurie's
there so
neighbor
quickly
because-
after the events of Halloween 2018 because they were Laurie's neighbors out in the middle of nowhere.
And they mention, oh yeah, it's probably something going on
they talk
at
about it in
Strode's
Halloween
house
Kills.
next door, and they talk about how crazy she is, and how they don't like
Yeah.
her. Why would Laurie know anything about the known hermit, Laurie Strode?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's...
it's an all-timer.
The bartender, Edge says, is doing tarot on the bar because you need to be reminded she was doing tarot earlier. How else are we supposed to know it's the same person? Counterpoint, I used to work with one of them tarot bitches, and they would often offer to do tarot readings just kind of over on the sidebar at work.
Counterpoint, when Allison goes up there are already 3 cards laid out, and that's not how it works.
Is she doing
Also-
a reading for Allison, or is she?
No,
It's for the other
she's
girl, isn't it?
having
She
cards
just has
out.
the cards out.
I'm so confused. Noah says, I like this shock jock who just says, oh yeah, Michael died. And the guy who was around a couple years ago is the same guy who poisoned the Pope. I love the shock jock. He's
Yeah.
my favorite.
The way Jeff said that was like, yeah, my
Yeah.
favorite too.
Noah says, okay, yeah, we have the whole like you killed my son thing. And then Noah says, Corry, you walked away. She didn't abandon you. Yeah. Allison was still in the
Yeah,
bar.
that's not fair,
He
Jen.
walked away to get a drink.
He excused himself, even.
Edge says, shout out to the dick graffiti, which I also did while we were watching the movie.
Yeah, Nina's like, oh, penis. And I'm like, in Halloween Ends, there is not a penis.
There is a penis. There's a
There's
dick
penis.
and balls on.
Where's
the-
my burned Michael
Halloweener,
penis?
as it were.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. If this was a good fanfic, I would have seen Michael's burned schlong.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But no.
Do you think he wears a mask
And it
on
would probably be breathing heavily too. However, yes, definitely.
Oh my god. Noah says, Lamau the sad piano. Yeah, there's sad
a lot
piano
of sad
in the sad piano did not work for
Yeah.
me personally.
You know what's annoying is the soundtrack
Uh,
to Halloween Kills like goes really hard. This one does not have that problem.
No, I have like 6 notes about there being too many needle drops in this.
Yeah.
I like a
The
good needle
music's
drop
good.
in the
It's
movie,
just
but
there's
like
too much of it getting thrown in.
Yeah, I have the one of the
It's-
two Dark Wave songs is on one of my playlists just because it's a good
Yeah, they're
song.
cool.
it's just another moment where the vibes of this movie are really different from the other
Yeah.
two, and it lends to the oh, I don't like this because it's different
Yeah.
energy.
Just sits weird.
Noah says, Corey sleeping here to avoid his mom is great, though. I love his murder cave being a literal mansion. Yeah, that's great. I love the contrast between Michael and Corey, where Corey's, like, sewer is genuinely a mansion, but he is, in fact, sleeping in the blood puddle where a child died. Noah says, Chekhov's fire extinguisher. It indeed is. They set it up. They knocked it down.
That's why she burned that pie. Get dunked on, Jeff. You were like, how did Lori burn the pie? So we knew there was a fire extinguisher to beat Michael's ass. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Every kitchen should have one.
that's true.
Mine doesn't.
Noah says, how does Michael know how to drive? Bitch, how does he know what a garbage disposal is?
Yeah. He just knows how that thing works. What the fuck?
I
He's
love
just flipping switches.
love that so
He's like,
much.
I see the light switch. I see the big sink. I know what to do here. And then makes Lori turn on her own garbage disposal. It's like, stop
Garbage
feeding your hand to
disposals
disposal.
were around in the 70s.
Yeah, but Michael was a baby in the 70s. Actually, no, Michael was born in what, the 60s? Because the original movie
70s
took
is
place.
when he was killing people.
yeah.
But he
Well-
was killing people after escaping from an institution. He wasn't part of the world or anything.
Yeah, he was in a mental institution for like 15, 20 years.
15 years at time
Yeah, 'cause
of
he was,
I think they
1970.
don't have
Six.
garbage disposals in the sewer.
Must be. That's where they all lead to. Maybe that's
What
how
is
he
a
learned. He
sewer
reverse
if
engineered
not a
it from the
garbage
bottom.
disposal?
Oh,
Somebody
so true,
must have
Jeff.
taught
What I
him.
think they should have done as a consistent bit over the course of the sequel trilogy is they should have had him continuously surprising people by driving larger and larger vehicles. You know, like instead of crashing the prison bus, he drives it. You know, at the end of this one, he's like driving
Michael
an
in a big rig that
in-
has his face airbrushed
in
on
Halloween
the side.
Kills.
I need him in a
In
trucker's
Halloween
cap.
Kills, Mike
over the
gets
mask.
forklift certified. And in Halloween Ends, he's like operating an excavator to expand his sewer, of course.
Of course.
Can I read one more from Edge's
I'm
notes
done.
before I wrap this up? After we put Jeff on blast earlier, I think it's only fair. We're talking about Corey's death scene here. And it's partially in, and Edge gave me access to these notes. It's partially in the summary. It's talking about Lori kind of walking away, and then Michael comes in, and Edge says, we get a POV shot of Michael shaking and choking him out, and it's kind of hot.
I need you to know. I need you to know, at the time that we saw this movie, I was in this Discord server where we had a dedicated section just to talking about slashers, and that would be the first thing that got brought up every time anyone was like, oh, I finally saw Halloween Ends. There would just be like 3 people putting in these blocks of spoiler text going, did you see the POV scene? What did you think of it?
So another one that I loved as someone who has a huge crush on Jamie Lee Curtis was, and I'll out myself, tit for tat, so to speak, is when she grabs Corey by his hair and pulls his head
Sorry,
back.
what do you mean out
You're
yourself?
right, and
Anytime
you're-
there's a
you should
woman
say
in a
it.
movie, I assume that you find her hot and probably have a crush on her. Like,
But
that's
this-
not equivalent at all.
Yeah, but it's Jamie
not-
Lee Curtis.
It's not even, it's the scene itself, not just the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis is in the movie. Noah says, don't fear the Reaper is a batshit insane thing to end this movie with. This is a movie full of so many
what the
fucking
fuck
tunes.
is that? What is the deal with that?
I actually love
I love
it.
that
I'm not gonna
song.
lie to
I
you.
just can't
Ending on
figure
Don't
out
Fear the
why
Reaper
we
is
would be using it for
insane.
this.
God.
Because Michael's dead, don't fear the
Oh,
Reaper.
shit.
Michael
He's
in
the
this,
Reaper.
and
I don't have to fear
I'm
him?
sorry, and by the Reaper, I mean Michael Myers.
Straight fearing it, and by it, I mean
By
the
it,
Reaper.
I mean Michael Myers.
God damn it. Anyway, that's all of the notes for today, everyone, unless Edge would like to highlight any of her notes.
One I would like to highlight. Allison should really be more cautious about enabling this very dangerous man saying very concerning things, considering both of her parents died from a freak-ass
You would
murderer
think,
like
right?
this.
But have you considered?
You would think, but she's in her self-destructive era.
Well, yeah. I mean, have you considered when
Slay.
she was talking to Corey? She said that when she heard other people talk about him, she felt like she knew him.
She also said, look at me, this isn't
Yeah.
you. So I'm not trusting anything she fucking
Well, but
said.
then when she met him, she said she felt like she already knew him, like she had been looking for him all that time. You know, clearly they have something special.
I've seen this on AO3. I have read this on Quotev. I've seen
Okay, I would like to clarify my comments about the acetylene torch kill.
Yeah, you said you didn't like it.
I love. No,
I said it went hard.
I like it.
And you said.
And he said
I
it
think
could have
it-
gone
yeah.
harder because it's blurred out in the foreground of the
That's-
scene. And
And I don't want to see it clearer. I don't want to see it clearer. But the best part of 2018 was the jack-o'-lantern
Good
head.
point.
And getting to see that was so
Sure.
cool. Seeing band kids burnt out face would have been kind of
Sure.
neat. I understand that by putting that torch down his throat, it burned his vocal cords, so he's not going to be able to scream. But also, hear me out. I am watching a movie, so I would be okay if they had him scream a
See,
little bit.
I really like
but,
the
you know,
blurry and out of focus, but in the foreground thing. I'm a big fan of that trick, just in general.
no, I liked that a lot. I just wanted to see it
yeah, I
later.
just wanted to see the
Sure,
aftermath.
okay.
I liked the shot, but then I was like, the shot was good enough that it had me curious. I'm like, are we gonna get more? Like, are we gonna
Right.
see what this looks like when it's done? Are we gonna cut to the like charred head falling to the ground or whatever? Nope, that was it. That's all we
Yeah.
got.
Okay, sure.
Which is a good leaving things to the imagination
Yeah.
moment. And if the other 3 kills in that scene had been a little bit more
Sure.
visceral, I don't think I'd even remotely care.
Or if we because if we hadn't got the Halloween thing, or if we didn't get to see the emaciated, beat up face with the tongue on the fucking record later, it's like,
Oh,
I know what
man.
you're capable of,
All right,
movie.
so then to close this out, it's a Slashtoberfest movie. Favorite kills, mine is the blowtorch. Everyone.
Dang it.
It's the shock jock. It's
Um,
Willie. I love the tongue on the record. I love that we get to see the effects of that in a later scene or directly after
Yeah.
with Allison in the car and the radio is skipping. I love that shit.
I love
Also,
the
it
kid
features the
dying at the
Absolutely,
beginning.
that's a good one.
That's
a good
good.
kill.
That's a good
It
one.
was
That's a
really
good
good, really good start of the
good.
movie.
Honestly, I'm torn. I might have to go also for the torch kill, but if we're trying to go different kills each,
That's not a rule.
I I'm gonna go torch kill. I like the torch
Yeah,
kill.
it's a good kill.
The
It's
torch
cool.
kill is good.
I like it.
It's the best kill of the movie, I feel like. The kid being a really close second. Just because that's a
The impact of it.
punch in the gut opening to the movie.
Yeah.
Set a great tone.
Absolutely.
Honestly,
Yeah.
if it weren't for that intro, you wouldn't know based off the first like 35 minutes of the movie that we were going to be watching a horror movie, which is
Yeah.
something I kind of like. It's kind of cool.
I like it when horror does the thing where, and this is something that I like in a very conflicting way. I like it when horror has accidents because that's genuinely
Yeah.
9
Yeah.
times out of 10 more gut wrenching than any of the more intentional kills. So yeah, I like that kill a lot. I just really like the kind of camp of the shock jock kill a little more.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah,
Edge,
yeah.
say something nice about the movie.
Favorite
What was your
kill.
favorite kill?
I liked when Michael Myers was there.
Every time he was on screen.
Every time my boy's on screen, I'm like, yeah!
Evil dies tonight.
Fuck him up,
Evil
old
dies
man!
tonight.
Honestly, I hadn't thought about a favorite kill, and everybody already brought up all the really good ones. The beginning one, for as much as like I've talked about, like, oh, the railings, that opening kill is just so
Yeah.
good. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a good opening for the movie. So I'll probably go with that one.
Nice. Good choice. I approve. Well, everyone, thanks so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Next time we're watching The
are we?
Awakening.
What? No.
I don't even remember
I don't
talking
even know
about
what the fuck
that.
is.
You did. That was right before we decided to go on the things that got us into horror spree. That was like one that had been mentioned. I just searched up like I just scrolled.
Huh.
I went wild. I was like, let's pick something we had been talking about. I would love to watch Event Horizon if anyone.
Oh, I'd be down for
Would
Event
be up for
Horizon.
it.
I'd love to watch Event Horizon.
It's a little bit of
I
an
don't
older
think I've
one.
ever seen it.
But
it's
since
Hellraiser
we
in
watched
space.
since we watched Alien recently, I think it would be a
Yeah.
fun one to compare.
Yeah, I'm
to.
entirely
Okay.
down for.
We're watching Event Horizon next. I'm Emma. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Emma Panada. I'm also writing a TTRPG called All the Witches. You can find information about that. I'm just gonna say Blue Sky at All the Witches. And yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
that was
everybody
slow by your
else, where
usual
can we find you?
standards.
Who are you?
I'm Jeff. You can
It's
find
late.
me on
We
Tumblr
see
at
you.
What Is It You Pray For.
I'm Noah. You can find me as Bubba the Bad, BUBBADABAD, on Twitch, Tumblr, and Blue Sky and Instagram. I'm still on Twitter for the time being, but I mean, like, you know, it's really more fun if you'd follow me on Blue Sky or Letterboxd. If you're on Letterboxd, you get to see me watch through Species, and you get to ew, I thought you were pulling on my hair, but I just sat on it. LOL. If you follow me on Letterboxd, you can send me such texts. You can't text me because you don't have my number. As my friend Abraham sent me saying, "Stop watching Saw. All my Letterboxd activity is Saw. Stop it."
Wow.
So
Is that why you watched Species?
you too could ruin your Letterboxd activity.
You can find me at Nina Wolverina on Blue Sky, on Instagram, not on Twitch. Don't do that. I was about to put out an invitation, but I'm gonna do that privately. Yeah, that's about it. I think that's all the places you can find me. I got books. You can find them in my card. It's linked on all my bios.
And the podcast
Yeah.
Tumblr is at Casual Horror Pod.
And Edge, where can we find you?
Do not find me. If you think you found me, I will deny it. I don't know what that is. I'm holding it for a friend. Someone else sent it to me. But I do lurk in the Casual Obsession Discord, so if you want to hear about any of my own specific takes or my own opinions, feel free to just find me there. I'm pretty sure you could probably message me on Discord through there, or just tag me there and go, hey, what the fuck?
All you got to do is mention Michael
I'm
Myers,
always up
Christian
for,
Bale in American Psycho, or Hannibal Lecter, and that pretty much summons you. So, like,
Oh, buddy, if you mention Hannibal Lecter, I am there.
Thank you all so much
All
for
right.
being here and for listening. Thank you, Edge, for lending your beautiful
Yeah.
opinions and voice.
Thank you for letting me bitch about a movie for so long.
Jumbo
it's a
episode.
supersize.
Jumbo so.
All right.
Jumbo so.
We'll see you next time, everybody. Goodbye.